Shalom, shalom, Israel. Salaka, we're a little behind normal schedule. I will be your teacher for today. As you guys can see on your YouTube screens, the title of the class is To Get the Love of ... But there is a subtitle. And the reason why there's a subtitle or subheading is it's going to be a two-part class. The first part of the class is going to be explaining more of the interpersonal. Well, all of it is going to be explaining how to operate socially amongst your people. Because the whole purpose of it is to figure out, how do I win my spouse? How do I win my friend? How do I win my brother? How do I win my sister? How do I win the love of the congregation? Which is where the root of this class comes. But in finding the root and finding the skill, finding the ability and the structure and the system needed to win these people, you're going to find similarities in every life event or social event you come across. So this title today is the social etiquette of the humble. The next title I'll label it, whenever we get to that, maybe in a month or so. To begin the class, the water brothers and sisters for coming out. The ones in class, the water, appreciate you guys. Virginia, Houston, Rochester, Stream of Wisdom, shout out to you all. Cabo Cabo in Guatemala, and the brothers and sisters in LA Judah, Atlanta, and Amiyataza in London. Shalom to all you guys. Keep fighting the faith and the water for your works. So, Shalom Israel on the chat. So, the first scripture we're going to go into is Ecclesiastes 4 and 7. Ecclesiastes 4 and 7. Now, we're going to be in the Apocrypha, specifically Ecclesiastes, a lot. Because when you're dealing with practical wisdom, how to operate in social environments, how to operate in a prudent mindset, Ecclesiastes, Wisdom of Solomon, and Proverbs, Psalms will give you a pretty strong foundation. We get the stories that match the foundation in the Old Testament and New Testament. But just to get practical, quick wisdom, you get them in these chapters. So this is why we're going to be in here for this portion of the class. So Ecclesiastes 4 and verse 7. Did you have a question, sister? Oh, Apocrypha. Anybody else need a book? Apocrypha, Bible? There's no Josephus today, so don't worry about that. All right, let's get it.
Ecclesiastes chapter 4 and verse 7. Get thyself the love of the congregation, and bow thy head to great men.
Now, I want to make this class very interactive, because why do you think it's important to get the love of the congregation? Your own personal opinions. Why is this notion important?
So that they can begin to trust you.
Trust, building trust is I'm gonna write that down. It's a great point. Trust, okay.
Also, it's important to get the love of the congregation because we're being in samples. Going off what
Speak up.
Sorry?
Speak up so that it can be.
Going based off of, I was going over Shadwell's class recently.
Okay.
And I'm revisiting that, and he's talking about the true followers of Christ. Yahweh Shai got the love of the congregation.
Why?
Brother, it's important to win. You have to win them. You have to get. You're not going to get the love of the congregation. If you don't have the love of the congregation, they'll never see the Most High Christ.
Stop right there. Okay, that's your answer. Never see. I look, man. I know you got the wisdom, brother. I want other person to get the. I want to hear other person's opinion. Never see Most High in Christ. Anybody else? What you got?
To actually be able to benefit them or be of use in the camp.
Why don't you think about it for yourself? Hear me out. I know that sounds selfish. What you got? Okay, credibility, and that is important for self. But for instance, why do we become extra nice, extra compassionate, extra great listeners around new people in the world? We're trying to make friends. Why do we do that? Yes, but that's not all. It's simpler than you think. It's not deep.
Acceptance, you want to be included.
You want to be liked. You want to be included.
It's the same thing you would want from yourself. That golden rule, so to speak, if we're talking about the world, treat others the way you want to be treated.
I think people are just more selfish than that. They just want to be liked. It sounds good to treat us like they want to be treated, but ultimately, we want to be liked. We're social creatures. So in my pursuit of wanting to be liked, I will conform. I will conceal the worst parts of myself to win the person next to me. Because I know if they see my ugly side, they're not going to accept me. There's parts of us that your parents might even accept if they knew about you. There's parts of us that your close friends wouldn't accept if they knew about you. So from the beginning, we learn as a child to hide the worst parts of us. If I don't like to share, I learn to love to share. Even though I'm really a selfish ass toddler. I don't want to give you my toy. But I know if I don't give you my toy, I'm be crying in the corner because no one wants to play with me. You'll be entitled, yes, because the parents don't want you to be like that. But ultimately, you're not going to have anybody around you. If I don't share the play swing, then all those people that surround you that wanted to turn us walk away from you. They'll never deal with you. If I don't let them shoot the ball, then they won't be friends with me. I'm just bringing up old things I used to think about when I was a kid. And, I wasn't a very social guy. I learned how to be social. I faked it. I faked it till I made it. But ultimately, I realized if I don't play this part, I'm not going to win anybody's acceptance. So, getting back to the verse, Ecclesiastes 4 and 7. There's a reason why I brought that up.
Ecclesiastes chapter 4 and verse 7. Get thyself the love of the congregation, and bow thy head to great men.
So, the top of the class is to get the love up. Because,
great men.
and that's the second part. Because to get the love of the congregation, the skills, the virtues needed to win a whole congregation on a small scale is to win a husband. On a small scale is to win a wife. On a small scale is to win a brother or sister. And your children. It all translate. So when you're looking at large scale, how do I win the love of the whole congregation? What are you doing on a smaller scale to win the whole congregation? What characters are you practicing, rehearsing? So when it's time, because people, when it comes to the whole congregation, a congregation only see you at certain times. The problem is you can't fake it forever. So if you're not practicing these virtues at home with your friends, with your brothers and sisters, when it's time to be in a social environment, I can't execute it. And ultimately, when I fail to execute it, then I lose that love off rip. Because a lot of us, we understand the notion of first impressions of everything. That person, that congregational member, they may know of you, but they don't know you until they get you in a social setting. It's downtime. It's feast days. How do you talk? What am I hearing when you talk? I'm just walking by. What is your conversation like? Are you cussing every 5 seconds? Are you talking about inappropriate things every 5 seconds? Are you vulgar with your speech? Are you offensive? Are you abrasive? These things we actually have time to digest. That's why the Most High puts us in the environments in the first place. I'm forcing you to figure each other out. I'm forcing you to exercise what you're supposed to have been practicing. So the problem is if I'm not practicing these skills, I can't play or execute it when it's time to actually execute. And then I wonder why no one likes me. I wonder why I'm having a hard time with this brother, having a hard time with this sister. I'm having a hard time with my own husband. So I'm not constantly practicing these virtues needed to get that love, admiration, respect that I so desire as a person. What's up?
Now, so basically, what you were saying earlier, why was it important to get the love of the congregation? It's important to get the love of the congregation, not because there's still a lot of virtue and skills and attributes to stack on, so that way they can be used for the new person that's coming in, so that way they can also receive those attributes and those virtues.
Well, there's no doubt that the skills and abilities that we're learning should be reciprocated to the next generation. That's what the whole purpose of having an elder woman or elder brother is about. I've learned my mistakes. I've learned my ups and downs. I've learned what not to do, and I'm going to give it to you so you don't fall and succumb to the same failures that I did in life. But that's not necessarily what we're talking about right now. We're being selfish right now. And this one time it's okay. The selfishness is I want people to respect me as a person. For two reasons. One, because Christ wants me to. And two, because how can I operate successfully in any type of group or setting without someone else's trust or respect? That's why we're looking at it in a more selfish extent. Not necessarily about teaching, we're going to disseminate back. And through our example, someone will learn. And this is why the next part said this. Read that in the end of 4 and 7.
Ecclesiastes 4 and 7. The second part, correct?
Yes, sir.
And bow thy head to a great man.
And this is why the following statement is to bow your head to a great man. Because if I bow my head or I submit myself to the greatest among your people, the greatest examples, the greatest virtues, then I'll be able to get the love faster. I'll be able to get the respect faster because they have the respect. What people don't realize is there's a reason why elders have respect. It's not because they have a title. A title is nothing. Just because you walk in here and say, I'm commanding whatever, doesn't mean you hold any value in a new person's eyes. Just like in a job interview. You could have been the general manager in your last business, and you had several hundred employees under you, and you was the main dog. But you know what? Now that you're in this new job interview, none of that matters. Who are you now? How can you help me now? What can you bring to the team now? And whatever you display, whatever talents or virtues you display right now, will dictate if you get this job or not. Your supposed pedigree doesn't mean anything. How you can win people means everything. And this is why this class isn't. It helps in a spiritual arena, but it helps in a life arena. Because some of us have jobs, and some of us have to interact with people in the world. We don't get the luxury of having brothers and sisters every day working with our hands and working on each other spiritually. A lot of us have to go out in the world and play the part. We got to play the game. They call it politicking. Does anybody know what politicking is?
Yeah.
What's politicking?
Shuffling to the right when it's time to go to the right, and shuffling to the left when it's time to go to the left.
That's checking the job right there. But in a sense,
based on real politics, based on making the right. I know I'm
no, you're not. You're not.
It's like rubbing elbows. It's not how they say. It's not what you know. It's who you know.
Yes. Yes. You know what politicking is? You ever had you ever been a homecoming? You ever invited a girl out, or you had to go over and meet the parents for the first time, and they don't like you because regardless of who you are, who you think you are, the father is never going to think you're good enough for their daughter, or for a woman. When they walk in the house and meet the parents for the first time, all of a sudden that bravado they had in the car that was cussing you out a second ago, that masculine spirit gets real. They get real small. They get real humble. They want to help out every 5 seconds. They stand up. They don't sit down till they're told to sit down. They're the best listener in the world. They're smiling. They're happy. It's the same concept. I'm at dinner table with my in-laws, right? And I know they don't like me. They're throwing subtle shots at me because they don't think I'm good enough for their daughters. I have to play the game. I have to politic. I have to smile. I have to brush off the subtle offense you just threw. I know it's an obvious offense.
Right.
I have to brush it off and pretend I didn't hear it. I got to act like you're not comparing me to her ex-dude because that's what you're doing right now because he's doing X, Y, and Z and I'm not that person right now. So I got to brush that off and just focus on why I'm trying to win you in the first place. The problem with us is we play the game sometimes with each other, and then sometimes we don't feel like playing the game. We're going to find out why it is.
Yeah.
But politicking is, can I stay in a mindset of prudence? Prudence, I'm aware of the danger that's going to happen if I make a mistake in my speech. If I say the wrong words to this father-in-law right now, I could burn a bridge that will never be repaired. This influence could influence my potential wife, my potential girlfriend, and have her walk away from me forever. So I got to be very careful how I talk. She knows I'm being disrespected. I know I'm being disrespected. But to protect this relationship and earn his respect, because you know what, he's going to come back like, you know what, you took like a man. And the mother might defend you. She might not. She might not like you either. So now you got 2v1. And you just sitting there, you smiling, and you're kind of nervously looking at your wife like, hey, man, you gonna help me out or what? But you're maintaining.
Can you defend me right now, bro?
You know what? You're maintaining your humility. You're tight-lipped, you're smiling, and you're going to eat this food, and you're going to answer questions, yes sir, no sir, and you're not crossing the lines. That's politicking.
No one, they just stabbed you in the side.
They talking mad, brother. Look, I'll never forget. I'm kind of exposing the beans a little bit, but me and my father-in-law, we had an interesting past. Great guy. But at one point in time, he didn't like me very much, and he made it very evident to compare me to previous exes. And remember one time he even invited this guy over to eat.
No.
I wasn't there. I heard about it. I heard he invited him over, and at the dinner table, they're like, yeah, why aren't you guys together anymore? And the response from the rib was, hey, I'm with someone else. You know I'm with someone new. Oh, that guy? Yeah, I don't know about him. But y'all are a great couple. And there was a lot of comparing and contrasting going on. Now, I can sit here and be highly offended by that. And the next time I meet him, I can cuss him out, call him out his name, talk about him, and see how and show him how he's off in the spirit and break him down in the scriptures. Or I can politic. I can smile and I can wave, I can shake hands and give hugs and call him pops and move on. Because what am I ultimately trying to do? I'm trying to win him. I'm trying to win this guy. I want his love. I want his respect. And whichever way, which means I'm going to be humble for as long as it's possible to win this person. I'm going to eat crow as long as possible because I care that much about this relationship. Not necessarily I care about him, more I care about the effect of him on my wife. So because I care so much, I'm going to eat crow. Let's get back into the scriptures. Because this theme, I want you to keep that story an idea in your mind as we go into these verses. Give me Philippians 4 and 8. So why do I bow my ear to a great man? Why do I bow my ear to the best example? In my pursuit to get the love of the congregation.
Come. Philippians chapter 4 verse 8 reads, Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things.
So, the first reason why it's important to win the love of the congregation is because if I don't win the best of people next to me, I'll never see their best. I'll never see their best level of meekness. I'll never see their best level of faith. They won't reveal their testimonies to me. They won't reveal their experience to me. That's one reason. The second reason is I have to be open enough to look for the purest things in people, to look for the most lovely things in somebody, to look for the best reports in somebody else. Because all those traits and all those values I can add on to myself. I didn't come into this hole. We don't ever come into this hole. So if I'm not whole as I'm coming into this, I should be looking for the different pieces of the puzzle that could help complete me. There's people in here whose faith is unmatched and will sell their house in a heartbeat if it meant for the benefit of Christ. That's a value and a trait that's learned for a lot of people. I know that's learned for me. There's some people that are so into brotherhood, they'll subject themselves and they'll halt their personal lives and will rather live with other men just so other men can develop. That's a virtue that is taught because most people do not want to do that. There's some men that give and they give and give and give till they burn out and they expend all their resources. That's a virtue that is not that's taught and not learned for the most part. Everybody has a trait. Everybody has an ability. Everybody has something they can bring to the table. But if I'm not looking to take on all these different virtues, then I can't grow and ultimately give them all to the next person, like Karai was saying. Part of this is I am learning to disseminate to somebody else. The other part of it is, as I'm tapping into your mindset, I'm winning you. Well, I'm around somebody, and I know they're interested in a particular genre of music, right? I might despise this music to my core. I might not like anything about it. I don't like the spirit behind it. But in the process of me listening, in the process of me taking my personal feelings out of this arena and trying to see why you might like it, what you're doing is you're winning that person, either consciously or subconsciously. Because I talked to men about it the other day, but the problem is, our people, not problem, it's a benefit too. Our people compartmentalize, they hold on to things, they store memories, they store experiences in their brain. And what you don't want to get to the point is, when someone thinks of my name, is there a negative connotation associated with it? When I was showing him my song, when I was showing him my favorite restaurant, did he smack his teeth and say, this is disgusting? He knows I love it. I'm hyping this building up. Slim Chickens. I love Slim Chickens. I love Slim Chickens. If I bring some of the Slim Chickens, I hyped up the ranch. They got some special jalapeno ranch. I'm loving it. They got the crinkle fries. I'm loving it. They got the tenders. I'm loving all that. I'm hyping it up. And I bring a brother with me. And the first thing he says, this is disgusting. You might not think it's that serious. Because you believe it's disgusting. I don't want to eat this. I'm on a diet right now. I don't want to eat this crap. Or you can find more acceptable words to soften up the blow. soften up the harsh response. Word choice, expressions, all dictate if you're subconsciously offending somebody. The reason why I say it's subconscious is the spiritual man's going to fight it off. They're going to hear the dart, just like the fallen-in-law. I'm going to hear the dart, and I'm not going to take it personal. But you know what's hard to do? It's hard to completely forget it. Because when you're in a lowest state of mind, those negative spirits, those negative conversations, those negative experiences do stay there for a while. And if you have too many of those and they're not replaced with positive experiences, then you're losing that brother's experience, situation, time by time. And you don't even realize it. And you're going to look up and y'all can't stand being in each other's presence. But it was one word. It was one check. It was one opinion. It was one face you made that slowly rubbed someone the wrong way. So in this verse, what are we doing? As I'm learning the congregation, I'm seeing how do people react when I know they don't like this food choice. What did they say when I know he don't like Slim Chickens and I know he's on a diet. Did he say some comfortable words? He said, hey bro, I can see what you like. This is kind of dope. Did he hype it up and match the brother's energy? Even though I know he knows, we all know he does not like, he can't stand this environment. He'd rather be somewhere else. He'd rather be a Salada right now. Do you at least make this brother next to him feel good in the hopes to win him? If I'm listening to music and I'm seeing somebody who I know can't stand punk rock or indie rock. I actually kind of like indie rock. But indie rock's not for everybody. Heavy metal's a no-no. But as I'm listening to heavy metal, I can't do it. I tried. He knows I tried. I tried, bro.
I'll play some Korean metal then.
But look, the point. Look, bro. The point is, I'm gonna listen. He knows. I'll listen to it though.
Listen to it.
It'll only be after like 4 or 5 songs. Okay, you gotta cut it out. That's too much, bro. That's too much. There's certain octave, there's certain pounding. I'm like, bro, my head's hurting. I'm trying. Please, if you just turn it down for me, I'll be okay. Just turn it down. Turn it off. But if I'm on the outside looking in and I'm watching the interaction, is this person throwing subtle jabs? This is some garbage music, bro. This is white boy music. This is bullshit.
What is this?
Excuse my friend. This is garbage. This is trash. This is despicable. Basura. Get us out of here. I'd rather listen to my music. Put some bachata on. Put some Royce on. Some Prince Royce on. I'll listen to that. I don't listen to this garbage. How am I reacting? Because there's someone that can react like that. There's always going to be a good example of what to do, and there's always going to be a bad example of what to do. Another one. You're hearing a brother who's passionate about the knowledge he just learned. This is a hard one, right? You know the verse. You know the understanding. He's going to teach to you like you don't know it. And you got to make sure you keep a straight face and you hype it up like it's the first time you heard it. Because as you're teaching it, just like you're teaching, you want someone else to respect what you're saying, it also goes both ways. You got to have respect in hearing the information being sent to you. I know this verse you're about to read. I heard the verse. I'm playing in my head as you're talking. I know the breakdown. I know the next verse that follows. I've heard John 3:16 several times. But I'm still going to hype it up. I'm going to give you my full mind, my full attention, and make you feel like it was worth studying this information. Every social interaction, you can either treat people in the most despicable way possible, or you can make them feel like $1 million. This is what politicking is. This is what having social etiquette is. Because all this, I'm showing that I'm not above bowing my ear to you. I'm not above giving you my mind. I can discard whatever else I got going on in my personal experiences. All my personal masteries, all my abilities, I'll discard all that because I want to be 100% locked into you. My personal feelings don't matter in this equation because you matter. Your personal feelings matter right now. Now, I know we don't talk about feelings like that. We're macho, we're spiritual, we're strong, and we push that all the time. But I'm not going to act like it's... Let me say it like this. If you roll like that, you ain't going to have no one that's going to mess with you. You're not going to have... Your kids ain't going to mess with you. I've seen it before. Kids will walk away from their parents eventually and not take care of them because of how they treat them in their youth. Your father, you'll lose your mother. Your friends will not mess with you because you just stop giving the F. When you get to that point of stop caring and stop extending and stop investing and stop listening, you run people off. You can play the hard game. I'm in it for the truth. I'm not in it to make friends. That's con. That's fine. But this to operate in a body, you got to have proper relationships with people. I can't just be a macho man and a hard ass, excuse my French, and act like you're gonna get the respect and the love that you're looking for. Because you might not say you're looking for love. I've heard men say they don't care about relationships. They don't care about, but then that's the first thing they complain about. Nobody respects me. Nobody considers me. Nobody thinks about me. We care about that, but when it's time to invest, when it's time to listen, when it's time to consider, I'm not into that right now. I'm into this book. I'm into this lifestyle. No, you're into part of the lifestyle. There's a part of this lifestyle that you're not applying because it takes more work. It takes more investment. Let's get back to the top of Philippians 4 and 8.
Come. Philippians chapter 4 and verse 8 reads, "Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things."
This is what we're supposed to be meditating on, along with the scriptures. I'm supposed to be meditating on what is the best of the person next to me. Is there a trait? Is there a virtue that the man or woman next to me has that I don't have right now? Can I take the best of everybody around me and apply it to myself? Read on.
Verse 9, "Those things which ye have both learned."
Because part of it is learned. Part of it is I read it for myself. And I learned social etiquette through just reading. Read on.
"And received."
And part of it is it was done unto you. When I said earlier that some of these traits and some of these virtues are learned, it's learned because other men did it to you. I'll never forget. I was young. I was in the mall. And I didn't have a whole lot of money. And there was a brother. I'm not going to throw the brother's name out there. But he always bought me food in the morning. Or he'll bring me something in the morning. And I didn't think about it too much. So I'm like, I'm young. This is what he's supposed to do, right? He's a spiritual man. This is my elder, so to speak. And then when it was my turn to be that elder for a young man, and the brother's at the Chick-fil-A line, and he orders $25 worth of food. I only have $30 in my account. I had to think about all them times, like, man, I didn't know what that man's funds looked like. I didn't know what this person's finance looking like. But now I'm in a situation of his shoes. Am I going to scorn the young man who's expecting that same kindness? Or am I going to give that same kindness to teach him a positive lesson for the future? And it didn't just happen once. That happened several times, by the way. Where you give a man some money and like, hey, this is just for you. Hey, just spend this amount. And they spend over that. And you guys say, you know what? Don't do that next time, but it's okay. Teach him a lesson, but it's okay. Because you're my brother and I care about you. That was a learned trait for me that I saw. I was able to conceive and take it in and add on to my life. Or just how someone operates in a social. In the mall, you gotta learn how to talk to people, right? I wasn't the best communicator. I can talk with my friends. I can talk in environments that I'm good at. If it's about sports, I got you. If it's about high school issues and stuff, I got you on that. It's small potatoes, right? But if it's about real life and listening and investing, I had no information on that. I didn't know what it was like to be a father. I didn't know what it was like to have a family. I didn't know what it was like to have lose someone important to me in my life. I didn't know these things, so I had to be taught these things. I had to watch other men do this. Other men taught how they phrase things, how they conversate, how their word choice in certain times, the timing of their word choice. All that was learned, just watching. Because we don't all have it. We don't have the full package coming into this. So this is why some of it is learned and some of it's received. It was done unto you. That's how you get the information. That's how you get that trait. Read on.
"Those things which ye have both learned and received and heard."
And this is why part of it is I have to hear other people's stories. I have to hear what other people did in a time of crisis. For instance, my rib was throwing more stuff out there. My rib was pregnant, and there was a potential scenario of a C-section. Or there was a potential scenario of them forcing certain shots, certain medications on her, and I didn't know how to necessarily operate in that field. And I asked the brother, I'm not going to throw his name out there, I asked the brother, hey, the question wasn't about that at first, but I asked him, what was the most fulfilling moment in your life? And he ended up giving me a testimony about his rib and how she came through and she didn't buckle to Esau's temptation, taking medication, and she didn't sit here fold and lose her principles, lose her faith, when things was looking bleak. When it's like it's life or death right now. You need to choose either one way or the other. And she stayed faithful. And I remember those stories, and that gave me courage. You know what? We're not just reading this. People are actually living this on a day-to-day basis. Whether they're 10, 20-year vets or they're 2, 3-year-old vets. Everybody's got a testimony I can take and I can sit here and grow from. As long as I'm willing to invest in that person. Now, I don't know if that person, I gained a little respect from that person in that conversation or not, but I grew some respect for him just off of sharing that information. So I say that to say, part of it is learning it. You read for yourself. Part of it is experiencing it for yourself. The other part is hearing it. I got to hear about these testimonies. I got to hear about the good times when people were put in a situation where they could have smoked the rock, so to speak. They could have sat here and been like, you know what, you're off, you're this, you're that, call all your flaws, embarrass you, versus, you know what, we still got work to do. I'm not going to give up on you yet. All those stories are very important. He won. That person might have won something in Christ, but you won in Christ if you take that serious and apply it yourself. So, read on.
And heard, and seen in me, do.
And seen in me, do. And this is why it says, bow your head to great men. Because the men that are in positions of leadership should have these characteristics that you're looking for. This is what is called characteristic authority. Characteristic authority is an authority or power given by the people. The reason why it's given by the people is they realize there's something I can take from you. There's a trait, there's a virtue I can take from you, and I need you to keep showing me how to do it so I can be a better person. This is what leadership is all about. But just like the brothers were mentioning earlier, it's about your day-to-day actions and your day-to-day consistency and your example to be in that position. So our job as younger men, younger women, can I bow my ear to someone who does it better than me? Can I humble myself down to someone who's more humble than me in the arenas that I'm not good at? This is what we're looking for. This is why 1 Corinthians 12 and 31 says this. Read it. 1 Corinthians 12 and verse 31.
1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 31. Whenever you're ready.
I'm not ready yet. All right. 31, right?
31.
Yeah, read that.
1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 31. But covet earnestly the best gift.
This is why Paul said, covet earnestly the best gifts. The Most High didn't put these people in your life just to tick you off every day. That wasn't their job. They might do it, but that wasn't their purpose. He didn't put your wife in your life to tick you off. He didn't put your husband in your life to tick you off, make you feel uncomfortable, make you feel less than. They put these people in your life, these brothers, these sisters in your life, to bring the best out of you. If you look at it that way. If I choose to look at it that way. Does not the Bible say, we'll get it. We're on it. Ecclesiastes 16 and verse, 13 and verse 16. Say that real quick. Yeah, well. Yes, sir. 16 and 13.
16 and 13.
Yeah.
Ecclesiastes 16 and verse 13. The sinner shall not escape with his spoil, but the patience of the godly shall not frustrate.
And this is what it says. The patience. You need patience to be even godly. I need patience to sit here and sit through a man cussing me out, talking about me, and still love him the next day and not take him personally. I need patience as a woman to sit here and hear my man. I know he messed up and he knows he messed up, but he ain't gonna admit his fault. And he gonna sit and look me in the face and be like, "You gotta change it. What about you? You're off. Focus on your battle, and then I'll focus on my battle." I gotta accept that and just move on. Be patient. You know what? Yes, there's problems. There's obvious issues here. But if I take my issues and make them better, I'm well-rounded. Instead of focusing on the external, let me focus on the internal. And then when you're spotless and you're walking in Christ and the Spirit of Yahushua, then we can sit and talk about why this person is still negative. But if you're not blaming yourself, then there's no conversation here. There's fault in both ways. So, the guy should not frustrate. But you know what the Most High does? I'm going to put people around you to tempt your frustration in you. I'm going to put people around you that make you feel uncomfortable. You know you need to learn certain things. But you don't want to be taught by this particular person. I don't like this person. I don't want him to tell me that I need to learn certain things. I'll accept it here, but I won't accept it here. You know you need patience in dealing with people who need to learn things. I don't want to teach anybody anything. They should know it already. Because there's some people who have the mentality of, why don't you got this figured out already? This is common sense. I know it. He knows it. They know it. Why don't you know it? That's the mentality. It goes both ways. So the Most High is, I'm going to put people around you to expose the worst in you and attempt to get the best out of you. That's why it says covet the best gifts. Read that again.
1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 31. But covet earnestly the best gifts, and yet show I unto you a more excellent way.
So what it's saying is there's the best gifts and there's also gifts that excel the norm. There's faith that excels the norm. There's long suffering that excels the norm. There's patience, there's meekness that excels the norm. Can I find those? Can I actively look for who got those traits and take those traits and add it to my lifestyle? You got to want to do that though. Let that go. Give me Ecclesiastes 51 and verse 18. Ecclesiastes 51 and verse 18 through 20. 51 and verse 18.
Now, in Ecclesiastes chapter 51, verse 18.
Mm-hmm.
Page 102 in the red copy. Verse 18. For I purpose to do after her, and earnestly I follow that which is good.
It's that earnest, it's that expedient, it's that willing, it's that diligent mindset to do and follow after wisdom. Do and follow after the best ways of operating. Read on.
So shall I not be confounded.
Because when you get to this point of wanting to seek more information, wanting to seek more knowledge, you accept and you realize I am ignorant in certain arenas. I don't have it all figured out. My character, the reason why people don't like me, the reason why I push people away is because I have certain flaws. And I've gotten past the immediate response of, it's their fault. Now that I can see myself, what do I do with the information knowing that I'm the problem? Read on.
Verse 19. My soul hath wrestled with her.
This is why it's a wrestling. You know what you're wrestling? The pride in you. The pride in you that says, no, they got to accept me for what I am. The problem is, how dare they judge my character when their character is full of ish. I'm wrestling with the wisdom because I know it was right. I know how I should operate in a social setting. I know how I should talk to my rib when she ticks me off. I know how I should counsel her. I know how I should talk to a brother when they get under my skin. I know why they get under my skin before they get under my skin. I read the Bible. I know it's temptation. Ecclesiastes 2:1, baby. I know what's up. But I don't want to hear that right now. You out of pocket, G, and you're willful. You're willful. You're presumptuous. I'm not messing with it. So I'm gonna say some off the wall stuff, and now I lost the man. I lost 6 months of development just over that one conversation. I lost a year of trust off of that one conversation. For a rib. Ribs have a way of getting under a husband's skin more than any other person, because they'll say some sensitive stuff that ain't meant to be spoken. Look, you know my button. Why are you pushing my buttons right now? Why are you trying to inflame me? What they don't realize is, yes, you might have won the battle in your wordplay and your argument, but you lost him a little bit. You know, if you're spiritual, it should only be a little bit. You should work to get it back. But so hey, look, yeah, look, divorces happen off of conversations. They're not all just, it's been years of built up and stress and I just been so, no, sometimes you said something you shouldn't have said. And now I can't live with you now knowing this information. This is true. Same thing with a husband. You know what? We don't gotta be to sit here and be the lion every day. We can be pacified in our words and have conversations. We don't have to yell and scream to get our point across. I don't gotta beat you with the Bible all day just to get you to know, hey, you need to make some changes. We can have some grace, some skill. We're skillful enough to talk in the streets. I can talk in the streets. I can make someone smile, but I can't do it at the house. It goes both ways. So, going back to the verse 19. God.
Ecclesiastes 51 and 19. My soul hath wrestled with her, and in my doings I was exact.
Now, this is important. As I'm wrestling with learning how to master this ability to control myself. That's what it is. Being humble is I'm able to control my emotions. I'm able to control the inconsistencies of my emotions that will cause me to lose humility. As I'm wrestling with it, I'm following the correct paths of being humble. I'm following the correct examples of being humble. In my mind, I might be cursing you out, but I'm trying my best to be a better person. So I'm not going to say what's in my mind. I'm going to tell you the information. Even if it's textbook, even if it's something I heard someone else say that's textbook counsel, I'll disseminate the same way because I can't give you my own thoughts right now. This is why for young men that can't control themselves, if it ain't Bible, don't say it. If it ain't backed by Scripture, don't say it. This is going to be opinion-based. It's going to be feeling-based, emotion-based, and you're going to lose somebody. So, I'm practicing. I'm walking after the best examples I've seen. I've seen somebody in an argument before, and I've seen how they maneuvered, and we're still humble and we're still respectable in an argument. And if you haven't seen that, you need to ask somebody, how do I be humble and respectable in an argument? Arguments are going to happen. Contention is going to happen. How do you disseminate, blow out the fire before it inflames and goes even more? And now you got major catastrophic issues in the household. Major catastrophic issues in the camp. These are all ways of navigating while you're working on fixing what's in you. Because we're not perfect. And we haven't mastered our mind yet. We ain't going to master our mind until Christ comes back. So as I'm working on hiding the folly in my mind, can I show wisdom in my actions? Can I show wisdom in my words? As I'm working. It's going to make more sense in a little bit. Keep reading.
Middle of 19. I stretched forth my hands to the heaven above and bewailed my ignorances of her.
It also shows you have to pray for this understanding of how to operate socially. How to have proper social etiquette amongst your people. I don't know it. I don't know how to do it. Can you show me somebody who can give me the answers that I need to be a better person, better man and woman in Christ? But you have to be humble to learn humility. I have to accept the fact that my way of doing things at 20, 30, 40, 50 years of doing things the wrong way is not working anymore. How many divorces do I have to go through to realize my way of thinking is not working? How many failed, broken friendships do I have to go through to realize I need to be a better person? I need to be more considerate. I need to be more selfless versus selfish. How many times do I have to keep breaking down relationships to establish and know I'm not right in my mind? When you get to that point, this is what you do. I accept I'm off. I'm going to follow the right way, and I'm going to pray the Most High gives me clarity in my mind. So it's no longer just a game anymore. I'm no longer just playing the game. I'm no longer politicking. It's actually my full sincerity. The goal is not to politic forever. It should be I'm just a humble person by nature. It should be I can hear offenses and not take it personal. Versus I hear offenses and I'm pretending I didn't take it personal and smile on your face. It's a different way of operating. So, keep reading.
God, verse 20. I directed my soul unto her, and I found her in pureness.
Yep, in sincerity. You find the answer in sincerity. When you really want to change, the Most High will give you the spirit you need. That's why before the class, the brother was asking about the difference between the person who wants to teach versus the one who works hard to teach but can't get it. Part of it is you'll find an answer in pureness, in sincerity. Is there corruption in your mind? Them secret faults we always talk about that nobody knows about? Them ulterior motives that you got that nobody else knows about? That is causing the Most High to block this understanding from entering your mind? Blocking the understanding or the ability to sit here and disseminate and bring people the wrong way? Block relationships, block blessings. For those that are looking for ribs, those that are looking for husbands, hey, the Most High is going to give it to you when you're spiritually sincere enough to handle it. When I'm sincere in my conduct, when I'm sincere in my faith, when I'm sincere in my outlook towards another person, then you'll get what you want. But why would the Most High give you anything just for you to destroy it? Women destroy men. How about that? Women can destroy a man's confidence in Christ. A man can destroy a woman's confidence in Christ. Why would the Most High give you anybody to force you to stop believing in God? To force you off of the path of salvation. He's not giving nobody that spirit. If you're not ready for it, He's not giving it to you. So in the process of trying to be ready, I'm going to follow the exact ways of operating, the correct, the tried and proven ways of operating socially while I'm learning how to fix my mind. Read on.
Middle of verse 20. I have had my heart joined with her from the beginning. Therefore shall I not be forsaken.
Now, this is important. He says I have my heart joined to her, means I wanted to learn wisdom. But what's the contrast? Read on.
Verse 21. My heart was troubled in seeking her.
Just because you wanted the wisdom, just because you wanted to have a better mouth, just because you wanted to sit here and not be so hateful in your mind, just because you wanted to sit here and be more patient than you are, doesn't mean you're not going to have a battle in your mind. Doesn't mean there's not a conflicting negative inside of you that you were born with, that you developed as you've grown older. That's why there's a wrestle. That's why there's a tug of war. That's why there's a back and forth. I'm righteous and I'm pure and I'm the kindest person in the entire world. And the next day I'm a demon baby. There's no in between.
She shall take you to
Crooked path. The crooked paths, I'm testing to see if you really about us or not. And the crooked paths, I'm going to put you in environments to see how much have you learned with the information you've been given. Knowledge is different than wisdom. Am I correct? So before I get wisdom, I got to get the knowledge. I have to know what it is. But in application, am I living it or not? We're going to find out why men aren't living it actually very soon. But as I'm learning to live it, there's a reason why the Most High isn't giving the understanding to operate it masterfully. To be second nature. There's some people that second nature is giving people. They'll give you the shirt off their back, no thoughts about it. It's natural. There's some people that they'll smile through the worst adversities. I've seen it in my own eyes. They will smile and they might shed one tear, but they're still smiling. And they're still looking for somebody else's betterment the entire time they're suffering. And then there's some people, they get a little inconvenience and their world's coming apart. And they can't think about anybody else but themselves. Wherever you sit in the spectrum, the person that's sincere is lacking in patience. The person that has patience is lacking in sincerity. Or lacking in faith. Whatever you're lacking in, you might want to be that. You might want to be faithful. You might want to be honest. You might want to be sincere. But the party that's not sincere is the conflicting force. Now read on.
Now in verse 22, middle of 21. Therefore have I gotten a good possession.
Once you overcome it, you get a possession you don't let go. Once you get the skill, you don't let the skill go. Read on.
Verse 22. The Lord hath given me a tongue for my reward.
Hold on. I don't want that. Let that go. Give me out. That's important though, but give me Ecclesiastes 41 and verse 12 through 13. Now we're getting to the meat and potatoes. This is what the class is going to be pretty much centered around.
Right.
1 second, baby. Again, this is a part 2, so I'm not going to rush through it. If we don't get to the main part of this, it's all good. Ecclesiastes 41 and verse 12. Give me that.
God. Ecclesiastes chapter 41 and verse 12. Have regard to thy name, for that shall continue with thee above 1,000 great treasures of gold.
So, does it matter if you win the love of a congregation or not?
Absolutely.
Why? Because that love is associated with your name. When people talk about you, is there guile in their mouth? Is there hatred, malice in their mouth? Is there love? Is there positive memories? Is there good? Is it always a positive connotation with your name? This chapter is about death, right? And this is a very sensitive topic. And a lot of times, Israel doesn't consider their name until you're mourning, until you're at a funeral, until you've lost a loved one. And the first topic you're thinking about is, how will people remember me? Will anybody show up to my funeral? Will anybody care if I'm not there anymore? If my existence is wiped off the face of the map, will they consider me? This is why this is going into that. This is why having a good name is important. If that's what you care about, aside from the bravado, aside from the super spiritual, that's great. Aside from that, if you care about having respect tied to your name, love tied to your name, consideration tied to your name, whether in death or in life, because you know when crisis happens and you're in need, you know what makes it easier for people to help you? If they already care about you. But if you were pushing somebody away from you your entire life, they might help you in obligation, but you know it was unwilling. You know there was a grudge behind it. And why would you want to have that in your conscience? No, I don't have a good relationship with this person. Now I feel like I don't even deserve this gift that they're giving me. Or I don't deserve this help. Or I can't ask for help now. Because I've rubbed this person wrong for so long, I can't even ask for anything. So I feel like it's fake. It's coming off insincere. It's a real conversation. I've done people wrong so long. Now that I need help, I can't get help because I don't have a relationship with nobody.
It's like I'm too ashamed to ask for help, or not even ask, just make the dang phone call.
Yeah.
'Cause it's like, dude, I spent a long time rubbing people the wrong way, and the crazy thing is, half the time we're running people the wrong way because we're distracted over some other BS.
The distraction is
And we were.
the distraction is this. I'm more concerned about how I feel versus how others feel. This is why Christ said, if you treat others the way you want to be treated, you're gonna be all right. Well, that's one of the that's the scripture. But the angle is, if I treat someone the way I want to be treated myself, if I'm sincere, if I'm always giving when others are in need, if I'm always looking out for the next man or woman, when it's time to be reciprocated, one, you won't have that shame, like feel like someone like owes you something, or you owe them now, and two, they'll want to help you. They'll want to extend. There's a verse about that. But I don't want to go too off topic, but there is a verse in Ecclesiastes about that, where it says the person that. What you got, Karai? I'm thinking if I want to go here or not.
I was gonna say there's two things. One, based off of y'all, what I was saying, the reason why we feel so ashamed to even ask somebody for that assistance, for that help. To be honest with you, that's just pride at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? And also,
You killed my punchline, man. You know that? You know what you're doing right now.
He's in the spirit,
you know what I mean?
I've been trying to lead everybody to this answer this entire time. I hope you've been setting it up. I've been kind of like, we gotta be humble, but why aren't we humble? I've been kind of,
He went over here and saw your class. Like,
You look at your notes, right?
class done, man.
I was gonna say this.
I know, I'm playing with you. You got
Another
it.
thing about that too,
oh, no.
just based on that point, there's that combination too, right? Like that guilt is just weighing on us so heavy up.
Yeah.
We don't even want to sit back here and ask somebody for help. 'Cause we already feel like there's no more.
I'm a burden.
There's no more refreshing that. You know what I'm saying?
But look, it's an uncomfortable feeling when you feel like you're a burden to somebody else. When you feel like you're inconveniencing somebody else. But you know the blessing is when you develop such good relationships with people, it's never a burden. Because you know, as much as they're helping you out, you've helped them out on several occasions. It's an even exchange. You didn't do it for the even exchange, but it's a natural exchange. It doesn't feel unwarranted. It doesn't feel unwilling. It doesn't feel forced. I don't gotta beg you. I'm gonna sit here. Look, if you're always being humble, it won't be hard to be humble when it's time to be humble. This is what it is. Let's get back to the scripture. I'm gonna get too off topic. I'm losing my thought. Go to verse 12 again. I'm already
Ecclesiastes,
getting there.
Ecclesiastes chapter 41 and verse 12. Have regard to thy name, for that shall continue with thee above 1,000 great treasures of gold.
Your name stays with you wherever you go. When people ask about you, when they want to inquire about you, in a carnal sense, in a worldly sense, in a job interview, what do they ask you in a job interview? Do you have any references? Can I call someone on your behalf and see you're a good employee?
Yeah.
I don't care if it's in your paper. I know what you're telling me. What is someone else going to tell me about you?
References that are not.
Oh, this dude was late. This guy was late every day. He was late. The guy did not show up on time. He had an issue with a customer. He was cussing people out. You don't want to hire this guy. Okay, that's all I want to hear. Yeah, your master's degree was great. I see you worked like 8,000 jobs in 18 years. That's great. But I got to report your last job that said that you were cussing people out. I can't hire you.
The funny thing is they're not allowed to say anything that tarnishes it, but they'll be like, I don't know.
Oh, look, they'll say it in the most politically correct way possible. This person wasn't a team player.
That's all I can say.
They didn't want to be about the team. Oh, okay. Well, if you're not about it, you're not a team player. Then I can't have you on my team. You're not a team player.
You didn't want to be part of the family.
You want to be exactly. You want to be part of the Google family. We're a family here. He didn't want to be part of the family.
No, I had. I'm sorry, bro, but I had.
You're not sorry. You gonna get your word in now. Go ahead now.
He said, "I'm trying to say sorry, not sorry." No, but my sister's manager. It's funny that you said that because my sister's manager, right, at Bojangles Chicken. Right?
Okay.
She works at Bojangles, right?
Yeah.
Sounds amazing.
To make a long story short, he looks at all his employees as a family.
Yeah.
Father figure, but he doesn't take care of his house. You know, so
Bad leadership.
he calls my sister and everybody else like their daughters and whatnot.
Yeah.
So that is.
I mean, look. That's strategic in a business standpoint. If you make people feel like they're a family, they're more willing to live and die for your brand. That's what it is. That's strategy. It's genius. But it says the name will follow you wheresoever you go. You know what else follows you wherever you go?
That's up.
Yes. Your your digital footprint. We know that, right? If the CIA wants to look up, FBI wants to look up your digital footprint, they know everything you post in your whole life. Every text message, every tweet, every Facebook post, deleted or not deleted, every account you created under your name, under your IP address, the time mentioned, the people you're associated with. That's why on Facebook they give you associated people that you come across, that you've met in a different city, and they just know y'all are acquainted somehow. I don't know how you're acquainted, but I know you want to follow this person. You know this guy. Look, there's a digital footprint. Your name on the internet carries a digital footprint. Stan the man out here. Hey, shalom, Stan. I love my brother Stan, man. I just thought about it. That's my guy right there, man. Look, Stan is known for being the eccentric and energetic guy, man. You can't take that away from Stan. It makes you smile. His name follows him out. Stan the man's name follows him. But the point is, your name carries weight. Just like a digital footprint carries weight, a job interview, and the names attached and the references attached to your name carries weight. It's the same thing in the spirits. So why wouldn't I want to get the love of the congregation when they're the ones vouching for me? Did not the Most High say, you fed me when I hungered? You covered me with... What does that mean? He's looking at what you did with the poor, the people around you. Did you take care of them? If you didn't take care of them, then how are you going to take care of me? How about that? Keep reading. I took that one right there. Keep reading, brother.
Ecclesiastes chapter 41 and verse 13. It says, a good life have a few days, but a good name endureth forever.
Do I value a good life, a pleasurable life, a rebellious life over a good name that carries weight? What do I want to be remembered as? The guy that was a free spirit that did what he wanted, said what he wanted, ate what he wanted, and rolled how he wanted to do it? That's not necessarily a positive thing. Or do I want someone, when they think about me, like, man, this brother took care of me. This brother's definition of a patient person. This was the definition of a happy brother. He was always smiling. He was always compassionate. He always took care of me. He always asked me how I was doing before I even asked him how he was doing. These are things people remember. They don't say it. We don't got to talk about it, but they know. They know who's looking out for them. They know who's listening. They know who cares. They know who's investing. These are things that we got to hold on to because there's a value in it. On the contrary, if you don't value it, go to Ecclesiastes in the Bible 10 and 1.
Don't do that.
Yeah, for now. We're going to be bouncing back here a little bit.
Ecclesiastes 10 verse 1.
I know it's your favorite. It's my favorite too.
Ecclesiastes in the Bible, chapter 10 and verse 1. Dead flies, you ready?
Yeah, you good.
Dead flies cause the ointment of the apothecary to send forth a stinking savor.
So if you got some abomination in your pocket, you got some bugs out, it's gonna mess up your herbs. Which is what it is. Read on.
So does a little folly.
You got
That ointment, it's so much time and effort that you put into
to make it that one, right?
Oh yeah.
That's facts.
Work behind.
long process.
Which means, why invest into anything if all I'm gonna do is just destroy it in the end, to where I can't use it? Look, this is why being the same person every day is so important, because you build up. Having consistency in your character allows people to trust you easier. If I know the guy or the girl next to me every day is going to be the same person, they have the same temperament, they're going to say the same things, I can have comfort in that stability in my life. Versus someone who's up here, who's down here, who's mellow for 2 months, spaces out for 3 months, all about me a month, not about me at all for 2 weeks. That person you can't build trust with. You don't know what you're going to get. I don't know what dice I'm rolling today. So this person, you're investing into the woman. You're investing into your reputation. You're investing into your name every day. You're trying to be the spiritual guy. But the consequence is, it don't take much to regress, to lose that 6 months of development, lose that 6 months of investment, that year of investment, of development. Read on.
Con. So does a little folly, him,
Much folly?
little folly, him that is a reputation for wisdom and honor.
Because you're known for being the honest guy. You're known for being the patient woman, the soft-spoken. You're known for locking in. You're known for being subordinate. You're known for being trustworthy. Why are you rebelling now? Why quit on it now? Why stop fighting to be that person? Look, to be honest, every day is a fight. Am I right or wrong? Because when you're put in a situation where it's unfavorable to be honest right now, you think about it. I might have to say, like, when I break a wall, right? Let's say I'm a delivery, right? And I know I did some obvious damage. Right. I got to think about, do I want to take this $500 hit right now? Or do I want to sit here and say it was already there?
Pre-existing damage.
This is a real thought process. Look, we're human. We got to talk about this stuff, bro.
Talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Cause look, there's a crack next to it, so I can pull it off.
Yeah.
It's not like one of those obvious ones. There's no doubt about it. It's you, bro. It's one of those like it's already kind of an old house. The trim's already kind of scratched up. I think it's previous damage.
Don't let home
Get out of here, bro. Don't be here too long. Don't talk too much. Don't ask questions.
What's that right there?
Integrity is important, not. You're supposed to be known for being the honest guy. Right? If you're caught, if the Most High allows you to be caught, that looks pretty bad. Your name is honesty and transparency. You're not being very honest right now. You're not being very transparent. That's what you're known for. This is what we do every day. Oh, I'm known as the counselor. I just always counsel. I love counseling. I love giving myself. But then the one day when I'm on a dinner date, I don't want to counsel today. And I'm getting phone calls, and I'm looking at phone calls. I'm saying, no, not today. It's life and death in that household. It's life and death. Brothers need counsel right now. Or you'll answer, and you'll give them some half-blood counsel. Some like, hey, look, bro, just read the scripture here. You gotta just pray out. You gotta just pray, and that's it. And just keep it pushing. You know, and I know that was not you did not invest in me right now. You did not take your time in this counsel. You gave me some quick hits. Some quick bars to get me off the phone, G. Look, bro. That does a little damage to your reputation right there.
Yeah.
Subtly, but it does damage. Everything we do, if we go contrary to what we're known for doing, does damage to us long term. But it builds up. It's like Target. You ever go on Target? There's a thing in Target where they'll let you steal up to $900. They will let you steal, but no bullshit. Don't do it. Target.
Target.
I saw on TikTok. This is very important. This is very important to establish my point here.
Okay.
Target will let you steal. And a lot of companies do this, actually. But they'll let you steal up to, I believe, $900 or $1,000. Because anything under that is a misdemeanor. So I'm going to let you keep building this up for a couple years. I got a report. 5 years of stealing. Once it hits that $1,000, that's a felony. You're going to jail. You're going to big boy jail now. I'm going to let you keep building it up. Until now, you're just a prison guy. It's the same thing with people. They'll compartmentalize that negative. That one conversation, I was like, man, that rubbed me the wrong way. I didn't like that. I didn't like how you said that. I didn't like how she said that. I'm going to let it go. But you didn't really let it go. It's there. Because when it's time, when you're mad, that's the first thing that pops up in your head. That's the first thing that you bring up an argument. Well, you did this to me X amount of months ago. You made me feel like this. You don't care about me. And that's how I know you don't care about me. In 2015, you said this, this, and this. In 2018, you told me that you didn't love me. I know you didn't love me. I know you didn't love me. Okay. So you've been building up a report on me. Just to show me what you already thought about me in the first place. That's what a little folly does. A little bit. It's a little bug. That little bug that funk gets real bad when it's time to open that ointment. When it's time to present your name in front of a congregation for validation, for promotion, for respect, then all of a sudden, they gotta really think about it, man. Do I really want this person to lead me? Do I really want this person to sit here and be my spiritual head? I don't know. These questions happen due to our subtle issues. They're not always big, bad. You were the crazy adulterer. You were sitting here doing drugs. You were sitting here getting fight. It's not always the major stuff. It's subtle things. It's a look. It's a glance. Why does this person side-eyeing me? I remember that. They have a habit of side-eyeing me. They'll smile when everybody else is around, but they're side-eyeing. It's just me and them. It's real quiet. We don't talk. Okay. Well, then that's compartmentalized, and that's thought about. You're writing people off every time that foolishness in you comes out. Again, our job is to wrestle with these thoughts. Our job is to fight against that. We're going to find out it's called hiding your foolishness. We'll get that a little bit. But why wouldn't someone want to hide it? Karai, since you spoiled my scenario, go ahead and read this. Go ahead and Ecclesiastes 13 and verse 20. You spoiled the punchline, but it's okay. We don't get into it anyway. You gotta read this. You want to spoil my job? No. Ecclesiastes 13 and verse 20.
Lock your brothers.
I know.
That was sarcastic. That wasn't genuine.
Brother, that's a stamp of your name, brother. That you was genuine.
Away with him.
I remember that.
That's a genuine brother.
My skin is full.
Now, come.
My skin is filleted. I have a cut. That hurts. All right, read that.
Come.
Why do we choose to be on point sometimes and choose to forget all about that other times? Read that.
Ecclesiastes chapter 13 and verse 20. As the proud hate humility.
The proud hate what?
Humility.
Because when I'm in my pride, when I stop giving it, when I stop caring what other people think about me, when I stop having to try to fight to build a relationship that I didn't want to be in the first place, isn't that part of our problems? The Most High puts us in an environment around people who have characteristics that don't match our characteristics, around people who have hobbies that don't match our hobbies, people who have kinks that don't make sense to you, backgrounds that you can't relate with, thought processes that are asinine, and you got to sit here and love them. Your entire life, you've learned that if you don't match my spirit or my vibe, I can't mess with you. If you're not on point with my way of thinking, we can't be friends. You've learned that. That's a learned trait. Even some families will ostracize other family members because they're different. Those are the weird ones. We don't talk to those. We stay away from them. They're
That was real.
I know. This side of the family that
is real.
I know. That's why I said it. We don't talk to them. They're not like us. For the real affluent ones that have little money, they're not like us. For the ones that they're just prideful when they're poor and prideful, they're just like, hey, they don't roll like us. Okay, whatever the case may be, or that one. They think they're better than us. They think they're too good. They're a silver spoon, a silver fed, whatever. There's always issues in that scenario. What's up?
I gotta say this, bro.
What you gotta say, man?
Like within the whole family. No, this is serious.
It's serious.
I bet that.
I'm here.
So like, if you have like a whole family, bro, like part of the family might have money, and then the other part of the family might not have money, and like certain people look at within the family a certain way at others that have it and don't have it and stuff like that. Almost like a feud of it.
Well, the read on. It'll explain the feud. Read on.
Ecclesiastes chapter 13 and verse 20. As the proud hate humility, so doth the rich abhor the poor.
So part of those feuds is you don't got what I got. And people will fake it till they make it to show an image of themselves. There's a silent competition between siblings. I'm going to do better than you. I'm going to have the better wife, the better husband. I have the better house, the better car. I have the happiest family, the best white picket fence. My fence is not brown. Your fence is brown. It's not good. I got a gated community. You got a gated community? I got a gated community. There's always these ebbs and flows. I don't know this brother saying. He says that rant he just had said, pure opinion. I'm not sure, brother, what you're talking about, but I can assure you that I'm leading up to a point in the scripture. So just wait on it and you'll find out. But what I was saying is the reason why people refuse to keep that initial humility that we had when we're meeting the parents-in-laws, when we're sitting here trying to establish relationships and be kind, is because we get proud. Because it's a part of us that gets tired of having to condescend. That gets tired of having to hold our mouth. Because people do things to us that offend. People say things to us that get under our skin. And I don't want to be humble every 5 seconds. I don't want to sit here and suffer wrongfully, like the scripture says in 1 Peter, since you wanted the verse. 1 Peter. I don't want to be humble. So because I don't want to be humble, now I got pride. So let that go. Give me Proverbs 17 and verse 9. Proverbs chapter 17 and verse 9.
Ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. Proverbs chapter 17 and verse 9 reads,
Hold on one second. Actually, I'm not ready. All right, now I'm ready.
He that covereth a transgression seeketh love.
What does that mean? He that covereth transgressions seeketh love. Read that. What you got, Karan?
What that's saying is somebody who's covering that shame and that fault, they still want to be accepted. They don't want to sit back here and feel, bad for what they've done, but they still want to be acceptable. They still want to keep that friendship and that connection still there.
So, to cover, you get that in 1828. Because you're right, Karan.
Cover 1828, Webster's Dictionary.
Give me two.
Point number 2. Too high.
So, when I'm covering, that's why I kept saying it over and over again. You're covering or you're hiding the parts of you that would rub people the wrong way. He that covereth a transgression seeketh love. And there's two meanings to this scripture. We're going to focus on this because I'm going to prove why it says what it says. He that covereth a transgression seeketh love. What is the transgression that we're talking about? Proverbs 24 and 9.
Come. He that covereth a
Proverbs 24 and 9.
Okay, my fault.
Proverbs chapter 24, verse 9.
Why do I say that when you cover a transgression you seek love, and it's talking about your lack of virtues? Read that.
Proverbs chapter 24, verse 9. The thought of foolishness is sin.
What?
The thought of foolishness is sin.
So that negative mentality that doesn't want to be patient anymore, that mentality that wants to lie, that thought process that wants to sit here and deceive, wants to ignore, wants to belittle, wants to condescend, that process is called a sin, which is a transgression. Am I correct?
No.
1 John 3 and 4. Okay, read on.
It says, and the scorner is an abomination to men.
The scorner is an abomination to men. To scorn is to disregard. When I'm in my pride, who am I disregarding in my pride?
Those around you.
When I'm tired of hearing your stuff, I'm cussing you out. I fully disregarded your existence as a person. I don't care about you no more. I'm going to let you have it. I'm not hiding this no more. I'm not hiding this thought process. That's sin. That's a transgression. That means you've decided, I don't want love anymore. When you cross that threshold of refusing to be humble, of refusing to hold your tongue, of refusing to corral your thought process, you're now becoming a scorner, which is an abomination to men. This is why you're having a hard time winning the love of the congregation. This is why if you're practicing doing everything else right, but you're scorning in your thoughts. Why is scorning and being hateful in your thoughts such a problem? Because you can't hide it forever. If you're not constantly wrestling with your thought process and following the exact way of wisdom, it's going to come out. It's going to spill over. So, you've offended a little bit. It's a little folly attached to your name. Just a little bit. You made one slip of the mouth. Happens. You said Salakia, we move past it. What if you keep doing it? Go back. Go back to Proverbs 17 and 9.
Proverbs chapter 17 and verse 9 reads, He that covereth a transgression seeketh love.
So if you hide or conceal that thoughts, that negative side of you that would push people away if you didn't, it's because you're trying to win the love of the people around you. It's because you want their admiration and their respect. But if you stop, what happens? Read on.
But he that repeateth a matter separateth.
Read it again. That's important. This is very, very important. A little folly. It only takes a little bit to destroy a reputation. But in our environment, our job is to keep forgiving. Our job is to keep allowing ourselves to be used and abused. That's what Christ says we have to do. Because why don't you rather be defrauded? That's our job. It's to be defrauded. To suffer wrongfully. But how many times are you going to take advantage of that kindness? Of that goodwill?
One thing to be aware of, the property we're talking about is very true. You got to work for what's right. You got to study for what's right. Because on the other end, there's a study that goes like this. 95% of people that do other people wrong is because it was the way they got done.
Of course. Hurt people. And the point of learning in Christ is I understand why I was hurt. I can rationalize why I was hurt. And through the scriptures, I get comfort through that hurt. We're going to be hurt. I don't care where you come from. There's going to be some type of trauma attached to your name that help mold and shape who you are right now.
I'm so careful not to do it too.
That's the goal. But then it slips sometimes. Because there's that hate. There's that hate that's still in you. One, the hate that was already born in you. We know that. In 2 Ezra 3, they were born with an evil heart. 3:21 through 23. But there's also hate that's developed when you read in Job 24:9, the world's given in the hand of the wicked. So the wicked has now destroyed my conscience for 20, 30, 40 years. And now I got to fight all that and get changed in Christ, like Titus 2 says. Be regenerated. So, read that in Proverbs 17:9 one more time.
God, he that covereth a transgression seeketh love, but he that repeateth a matter separateth very friends.
But if you keep making that same slip up, you keep slipping with your mouth, you keep having this disgruntled face, a vexed face whenever you're conversating with somebody, you give off a displeased vibe, a displeased spirit when you're around someone you don't particularly like. What you're doing is you're pushing that person away slowly but surely. This is why households fall apart. Before they fall apart, they've been distant already. They've already been divorced. In the spirit, they're already divorced. Because you've been pushing each other away through your offenses, through the microaggressions. We call them microaggressions because they don't have to necessarily be big blow-ups. Big blow-ups, big arguments, big fights. They don't have to be that. It's a small diss here, a small diss there. Lack consideration here, lack consideration there. All of a sudden you look up, y'all are in two different worlds. And then you split. It says if you keep making a repetitive mistake and your character, if you keep letting that foolishness slip, then you're going to keep pushing people away. Let that go. Acts 24:16.
Acts 24 and verse 16. And herein do I exercise myself.
So this is an exercise. It says, I am exercising, do what? Read on.
And herein do I exercise myself to have always a conscience void of offense towards the Most High and towards men.
So it is an exercise or a strenuous work to keep my mind conscious or avoiding of offending man, the people around me, and the Most High with my thought process. If I stop exercising it, I get lax, I get comfortable, I get prideful, I look up, then I start slipping with the mouth. Then I start pushing people away. Then I'm being frustrated that I've lost respect amongst the people around me. Then I'm frustrated that it's not fun anymore in this shit. We've lost that spark. I feel like you're a stranger. I feel like we're just partners living in the same house. How did it get to that point? What did you let slide that allowed that force to turn into something bigger? What did you let slip? Because you just stopped caring to get love from that person. You just stopped caring to get admiration from that person. Now this isn't about man pleasing. I hope we understand this. We're not doing this because we're trying to man please. There's a difference. And maybe not in this part of the class, but the next part, we're going to show the difference of the humility or lawful shamefacedness versus unlawful shamefacedness. Because the root of shamefaced is to be humble. There's a humility that's lawful. Then there's a humility that's man pleasing. We're not doing this for just man. We're doing it for the Most High, but we're also doing it so we can have no schism in the body. So we can have the dissimulation amongst the body. That's why we do what we do. To keep the peace. Actually, there was a point I wanted to bring out on that. I was looking up the terminology earlier. I think it was politic. Let me think. The root word of politic is to be prudent or sagacious, but I can't think of it. I had it in my head, but it was going into. I'm not gonna bring it up. Don't worry about it. let Acts 24:16 go. So we understand the point, right? This is an exercise to keep our mind in order so we don't slip. We don't let that foolishness come out and affect the people around us. Let's get 2 Corinthians 5, verse 13 through 15. What was that point? 2 Corinthians 5 and 13 through 15.
You ready?
Yes, sir.
2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 13. For whether we be beside ourselves, it is to the Most High.
So, what does it mean to be beside myself?
Out of your normal character. Out of your, like,
Yeah.
you-
Let me
I
see.
want to say you're doing
Out of the regular course of order. When I put myself in an emotional state that's not in my carnal nature, if I'm carnally not a patient person, right? And I come into Christ, what do I have to learn how to be?
patient.
So now that I'm learning how to be patient, am I doing it just for man pleasing sake? Or am I doing it for the Most High? It says whether we be beside ourselves, it is to who?
For the Most High.
So I'm learning meekness. I'm learning to control my tongue. I'm learning patience. I'm learning faith. I'm learning long suffering, not to please man. So man thinks I'm doing a good job in life. It's so that the Most High can acknowledge my works. Because that's how I show I'm living in faith. Didn't I read in that in Luke 17 when Moses said you got to forgive man, give your brother 70 times 7? And it said, Lord, increase our faith. What does that mean? I'm able to take offenses. And my ability to take offenses show my level of faith in Christ. Is that man pleasing? So when I suffer wrongfully, that is me being faithful in Christ and Yahweh Shai. That's why we do what we do. Read on.
Verse 13. For whether we be beside ourselves, it is to the Most High. Or whether we be sober, it is for your cause.
So it's both. When I put myself last, when I put my feelings last, it's for the Most High. When I'm sober, when I'm clear-minded, because it's all about the mind. Clear-minded means I'm not defiled with them foolish thoughts that I've been wrestling. Them abominable thoughts that sometimes slip and ruin my reputation. When I'm sober-minded, it's for you. It's for your cause, your development. Just like when you're sober-minded, it's for my development. If we all took this mentality, all of us would grow. We wouldn't have so many contentions, so many arguments, so many confusions amongst a body, amongst a household, amongst a brother, amongst a sister. Read on.
Verse 14. For the love of Yahweh Shai constraineth us.
Come on, brother. Read it again, man. Come on, bro. It constrains us. That holds me from sinning. My love for Christ is why I hold my tongue. Is why I keep my face straight when someone wants to sit here and offend me to my face. When I pick up the phone when I don't want to pick up the phone. Counsel when you don't want to counsel. Go to class when you don't want to go to class. Invest into somebody when you don't want to invest into somebody. I do it because I love Yahweh Shai. But we're not going to act like the thought process, if you not want to do that, it's not in your head. There's a part of you that doesn't want to do it. But you constrain that part of you. You beside that part of you, and you hide that part of you for love. For the love of who?
Yahweh Shai.
Yahweh Shai. That's how this ties in together. Keep reading.
God, for the love of Yahweh Shai constraineth us, because we thus judge that if one died for all, then we're all dead.
Means, this is my rationale. This is why I do what I do. If one man can die for everybody, then I can die for the man next to me. My feelings can die for the man next to me. My pride can die for the man and woman next to me. Because I believe my judgment, my conscience is backed by this thought process. Christ did it for me first. This allows me to propel myself forward in development. Read on.
God, verse 15, and that he died for all, that they which live should not henceforth live unto themselves.
So what is the commandment that the Most High wants us to do? I'm not supposed to live unto myself. Which means my thoughts are not my own thoughts. Proverbs 3 and 5, right? 3 and 5 through 6. I got to have Christ's mind. How does he want me to operate in this situation? What would Jesus do? This is a real thought process. It's a real thought. He said he died for all, that they which live should not henceforth live unto themselves. It's not about you. It's not about how you feel. It's not about what you think. It's not about what you believe, if it ain't biblical. What is going to edify this body? What's going to allow us to come together and be in the most purest and most beneficial way? Read on.
But unto him which died for them and rose again.
Calm. Now let that go. Let's go to Ecclesiastes 41 to 14 again. I don't. Yeah. Did you find that key, by the way? Yeah. 1 second, brother. 1 second. 1 second. Okay. Where'd you put it? Oh, right here. Here you go. All right. Read that in Ecclesiastes 41 and verse 14.
Ecclesiastes chapter 41 and verse 14. My children, keep discipline in peace.
Hold on now. Keep discipline. So what is this? Battling your thoughts, making sure that foolishness doesn't slip. What is that considered? It's a discipline. It's a discipline. Because of what? We keep it in what?
In peace.
Because you want peace. You want peace in this life. You want the Most High to honor you and look at you as a peaceful man. Because then the Most High say Christ say in Matthew 5, blessed be the peacemakers. There's honor in that. There's honor in always keeping the peace, always keeping everybody's spirits in a heightened state. But the consequence of that is you lose. In order to keep the peace in the confrontation, somebody has to submit. Somebody had to be humble. Somebody got to eat crow. Somebody got to take it low and suffer wrongfully. They might be right. There might be evidence to prove that they're right. But is it worth the contention? The answer is no. But in the midst of that fire, we're not thinking about it. We're caught up in the emotion. We're caught up in the feelings. And that fire, the bugs is escaping that. It's going into that ointment. It's coming out of that because you didn't hold it in. You didn't hold it in good enough. you didn't gatekeep it enough.
Can't for the right reasons.
Look, but there was no time to sit here. Look, I ain't gonna lie, bro. Sometimes you gotta make a phone call because there's some days where it's harder to hold it in than others, and that's real, and that's normal. We're not sitting here saying we're robots. It'd be ideal if we could sit here and hear this class one time and we all become masters. Husbands are all just temperate. You know, they're just graceful with their words and speech. They're just kind. You know, they're instructing, but they're not condescending when they're instructing you. You know what I'm saying? They're not tearing you down. They're building you up. It's motivational. The women are receptive. They want to learn. They love Jesus so much. They're ordinate. They're Proverbs 31 all the way spick and span. That's great. But we got to understand there's a wrestle in this. There's a battle in this. This is why these classes have to be rehearsed. Because it invokes a thought. I have to meditate on that pureness. I have to meditate on these strengths. I have to meditate on what I want to become. And I can't forget it. The problem is this. Off subject. We forget it because of what? Ecclesiastes 15 and verse 8. Yeah, hold that. This is a quick... Because we forget it. But why do we forget it?
Ecclesiastes chapter 15 and verse 8. For she is far from pride.
The she is wisdom. That wisdom is far from pride. When you're in your pride and you've lost your ability to love and seek the love or seek better for others, isn't there a verse that talks about esteem others greater than yourselves? I want to say that's Romans 12 or something like that. So when I decide I don't want to esteem others greater than me, and it's about me right now, that wisdom is gone from your thought process. There's nothing else that's concealing them foolish thoughts. You're already out of it. All them verses go out your all them verses, all the classes go out your mind. Why? Read on.
Come. It says, for she is far from pride, and men that are liars cannot remember her.
Because when you said you love God, you also said you love his people. When you stop seeking to love his people, you become a liar. So therefore you forget them verses. You forget that understanding. You forget all them lessons. And the spirit of the moment is only how you feel that matters at the moment. It's only about what's going through your head that justifies your thought process. God is not in the equation. You'll come back and apologize. You still care about God. But in that moment, when that folly is really rampant, what are you doing to suppress it? Sometimes it's a phone call. You know what, right now? I don't want to say anything to offend. So I need to call a sister. For sisters, you gotta call a sister. Sis, I'm losing it. He's really under my skin right now. I know it's wrong. How should I go about this? For brothers do it all the time. They pull off. Look, I need a moment. I need a moment because I'm about to say something that's going to rub this man the wrong way. And I don't want to be a counselor right now. So I'm going to vent. I'll get blown up for my vent. And I'll be all right. And I'll reset. Sometimes that's necessary. But acting like these negative emotions aren't here is not realistic either. And we got to establish, like you said in Ecclesiastes 51, I have to beware of my ignorances of her. I have to acknowledge, yeah, I got these issues. Yeah, I got these problems. If the people know I got these problems and they know I'm working on it, they might be able to help you better work on it. But ultimately, you got to be trying to do your best to study enough and pray enough to get that demon removed off you so you can actually grow. Let that go. Let's go back to Ecclesiastes 41 and verse 14.
Ecclesiastes chapter 41 and verse 14. My children, keep discipline in peace, for wisdom that is hid and a treasure that is not seen. What profit is it in them both?
And this is the point. Why have all these classes, all this information, all this accessibility to counselors to keep you uplifted, keep you fighting, keep you motivated, if you're not going to apply it when the test comes? The point of getting these verses, getting built up in the spirit, is so when the time comes, you can actually be wise, not just knowledgeable. I got all the verses in the world. If I'm not living the verses, I'm a hypocrite, and I'm full of pride. Christ said it too. What's the benefit in having light and hid it under a bushel? You got the best example for a camp. Your meekness is off the chain, but you don't feel like being meek. You got the ability. The Most High gave you the capability to be meek, and you just don't want to. He gave you the tongue of the learned, like Isaiah 50, to know how to say seasonable words when a man needs it. But you don't want to today. You got other plans, you got other thoughts. You don't want to be that person that Most High made you to be. And this is the problem. Why are we neglecting our gifts? Why aren't we utilizing our gifts that we've been training up so long to do? How do we show the Most High we care if we keep failing the test habitually? If the men in the camp are a reflection of how the Most High feels about you. How about that? The women in the camp are a reflection of how the Most High feels about you. There's a part of you that's selfish. So because you want to be selfish, he's going to remove those people from you. Because you want to be the heretic. You know what a heretic is? What's a heretic? Nope. A heretic is someone who maintains an erroneous opinion. You maintain that contrary opinion, so the Most High says to reject that person. That's also Titus 2. Reject the heretic after the first and second admonition. You don't want to change, I'm going to pull people away from you. Because you're a cancer. You're living in the camp right now. Why do we have to get to that point before we want to take this serious? You have the ability. You have the knowledge. You can do it if you chose to. If you love God, like you say you love God, then love people like you say you should, or like you know you should love the people. Keep reading.
Okay. Verse 15.
Hold on. I might not want that. Let me see. We were at
We got 14. We finished that.
all right, they go to Ecclesiastes. All right, give me yeah, give me read 15 now. Read 15.
Okay. Ecclesiastes chapter 41 and verse 15. A man that hideth his foolishness is better than a man that hideth his wisdom.
And this is why it says it's better to hide your foolishness than to hide your wisdom. Can you just hide the part of you that's not on point while you're learning how to be wise? Can you hold back them negative thoughts? We know you got negative thoughts. I can see it in your face. Your face is morphing. It's about to come out. Your lips is twitching. The hands is clenching up. You're getting tight. I know you're tight. I know you want to say something off the walls. Brother, look, it's not hard. I know when someone doesn't agree with something. Even if it's a quick flash, I can't fake it. You can't fake not wanting to hear correction. Not. We know it's there. Everybody in the world knows it's there. Instead of blowing up, losing my cool, staying in my honor, can I hide that folly and implement the wisdom that I've been learning? Are verses running through my head when situations like these happen? The trick is, whenever you're around people, verses should be social etiquette verses should be running through your head. That's why the class is called the social etiquette of the humble. We're learning there's certain verses, there's certain thought process that we can then take in our head, and if we did them, we wouldn't have half of the problems we got. There's a way to talk. How about you're charitable, right? You love charity. You just give, give, give. Now the Bible say, corrupt communications or bad communications corrupt good manners.
Yeah.
So I'm giving my butt off. I'm giving everything, but I got a bad mouth, and therefore no one wants to be around me. Social etiquette. It cancels out the good works. A little leaven, leaven the whole lump. There's a way to operate and a way to keep people around you, gravitating towards you. You have the capability, you have the information, you have the knowledge, but we don't do it when it's time to do it. Keep reading in verse 16. Yeah, read it from 15 again. Go to 16.
Okay, come. Ecclesiastes chapter 41, verse 15. A man that hideth his foolishness is better than a man that hideth his wisdom. Therefore, be shamefaced according to my word.
And this is the point of the class. This is where the topic truly starts, because the shamefaced, that's what I wanted to get at. Shamefaced means to be bashful. Now, we'll go to some bashful verses in a little bit. But the root of bashfulness is modesty, which is humility. I know there's a lot of different variations. It trickles down. To be shamefaced is humble. It's why it says, Ecclesiastes 26, I'm not going to go there. It says a shamefaced woman is what? Okay. We'll go there. We'll go there. 26 and 15.
Ecclesiastes chapter 26, verse 15. It says, a shamefaced and faithful woman is a double grace.
They're a double blessing, a double grace. A humble woman that can take correction, that wants to learn, that is not confrontational, that doesn't have a masculine spirit on her, is a double grace. And she's faithful?
Amen.
Come on now. That's called handling business right there. That's a double grace. Read.
And her continent mind cannot be valued.
Continent means restrained. We just read that we restrain ourselves from Christ. I mean, she restrains her opinions. Now, we're the Most High's wife. And I didn't go here because I was trying to make that comparison. But it's the same thing. A man that can be shamefaced is a double grace. Shamefaced and faithful, that's hard to find. You're humble and you love God, that's hard to find. You might get one or the other. You might get the faithful, but there ain't no humility there.
Yeah.
There's an attitude. There's an argument. There's contention. But they love God. That's great. Can we get both? For men, can I be both? An honorable man, responsible, and I don't have to blow up at the house all day. I'm going to be a lion at the house. I can be moderate. I can talk to you in a moderate and still get things accomplished without going crazy. Saying upbraiding speeches. Because the upbraiding speeches is what rubs people the wrong way. The conversation, the opprobrious words, all these terminologies. Ecclesiastes 15 and verse 23. All that is what rubs people the wrong way. The harmful. The words that stick with you. That cause you to remember them when you consider that person's name. Can we restrain from that? Because we love God more than we love our opinions and our feelings. You mean Ecclesiastes 41 and 16 again.
Time. Ecclesiastes chapter 41 and verse 16. Therefore, be shamefaced according to my word.
So, we got to be shamefaced, humble according to Christ's word. We're going to find out what that is. Matthew 18, verse 4. I gotta run real quick.
Matthew 18 and verse 4.
One second, brother. 1 second. All right, read that.
God, Matthew 18 and verse 4. Whosoever therefore shall humble himself as this little child.
So I'm supposed to be humble like what?
This little child.
A little child has humility. A little child doesn't take situations too personal. They're too young to be defiled by the world yet. They don't know right and wrong yet. But there's an innocence to them. The innocence is you can do wrong to them and they'll still smile on your face. They'll still love you. Can we have that humility when it comes to us? Can I have the humility to know, you know what, there's some rockiness in our relationship. There's some strife in our relationship, but I don't take you personal. Because you love God like I love God. If I look at it that way, it's easier to cope with the offenses. You're sacrificing yourself, your flesh. I'm sacrificing my flesh. And we're both working on each other. That's how you get that mindset of that level of humility. Like a little child. Read on.
God, whosoever thou shalt humble himself as this little child, the same is great in the kingdom of heaven.
This is what Christ established as greatness. Great works is humility. Humble works. Humble thought processes. This is why we're learning the social etiquette of the humble. This is how you navigate day to day with people in the body. If you want to find favor amongst the body, you got to apply this level of understanding, this humility daily. It can't slip. You can't falter humility. It's the main component to all of this. Let that go. Give me Hebrews 12 and verse 9 through 11.
Hebrews chapter 12, verse 9.
1 second, bro. All right, Hebrews 12 and verse 9. Read on.
God, Hebrews chapter 12, verse 9. Furthermore, we have had fathers of our flesh which corrected us.
Now, the proper child, the non-rebellious child, can take correction from their father. They might not like it. They might need a butt whooping behind it. But they're not taking their dad too serious because they know their father has their best interest in them. That's how a child reflects humility amongst his parents. The parents don't necessarily give them everything they want. In fact, they don't give them anything they want. Most of all, if you're doing a good job. But I'm not taking you personal, and I still learn to love you because I know you still care for me. Read on.
And we gave them reverence.
We gave them reverence. We gave them respect. We gave them love. Right? Read on.
Shall we not much rather be in subjection unto the Father of spirits and live?
What the scriptures are saying is I had to take that same reverence and love unto the Father of spirits, which is Christ. But in order to subject myself and have that same level of humility, I have to believe what Christ is teaching me every day. I have to believe that I have to be humble in order to make the kingdom, to be great in the kingdom. I have to believe that my humility is a direct reflection of the love of the congregation. Read on.
Verse 10. For they barely for a few days chastened us after their own pleasure.
Because our parents chasten us to benefit them. Whether it's because they didn't want to see their kid fall off and be a bad guy and be up in jail, or for a woman to be super loose and not have a husband. Whatever reason why they chastise them, they did it for their pleasure, for their own sanity. Nothing wrong with it, but it was for their sanity. Read on.
But he for our profit.
But the Most High put people around you to chastise you for your development. The scripture says, I want to say it's in Timothy. I think it's 2 Timothy. It talks about how we teach those that oppose themselves. There's certain traits, there's certain characteristics that we have that are harmful to our spirit or our flesh. For instance, for those that love sweets and love sugar, I'm one of those guys. I'm trying to change now. I've been taking advice from brothers and I'm trying to be a good guy. But you don't realize if you're opposing yourself until you have to go to the doctor and they give you some bad news. You know, when they tell you got arthritis in your back as a 24-year-old, that's some bad news to kind of want to incite some change in you. You might want to drink some lemon water. You might want to get hydrated. So the teaching comes from those that I was looking out for your benefit. I gain nothing from telling you this information. I gain nothing from telling you how to cleanse yourself of parasites. I gain nothing from telling you how to sit here and live an orderly fashion life. I gain nothing from telling you how to get your own marriage in order. But I do it because I love you and I love Christ. Why don't we respect those people? But we take them personal. We look down on them. We have the notion that they think they're better than us. So we push ourselves away from them. Consequently, losing the development, the potential development. Read on.
God, that we might be partakers of his holiness.
Yep.
Now, verse 11.
Yes, sir.
God, now no chastening for the present seemeth to be joyous, but grievous.
We understand that correction is not, it doesn't feel good. Having to be told that you got to keep making a bunch of changes is not something that anybody wants to have to go through, but it's a necessity. And if you want these virtues, if you want the things that you're lacking in to be under control, you have to go through this process. It's unavoidable. Read on.
Nevertheless, afterward it yielded the peaceable fruit of righteousness.
But afterward, if I take heed to the correction, if I take heed to the correct way of operating, I'll actually grow in the spirit. Those thoughts that I have a hard time fighting will become easier to fight. It'll be an afterthought. There can be a regeneration. There can be a morph in your mind if you take heed enough to these scriptures. It's the truth. You can be a murderer in the mind one day and actually love everybody around you the next day. This is true. This is a fact. I can be hateful one day. If I believe enough about the Most High, I can be a lover the next day. I can be compassionate. I can be considerate the next day. The only thing that's stopping that development is you and your pride and your opinion and your ways of viewing life. Because in your head, everybody else is wrong. There's some truth here, but ultimately, they're wrong. They're manipulating you. Why do you got to change everything about me? Why can't you just accept me as me? Well, because you can't flaw. It's like all of us can't flaw. But you said you wanted God to change and get better and become a whole person. So this is what we're doing. Did you finish that? Yep, keep reading.
The last part, unto them which are exercised thereby.
It goes back to the exercise again. This is work. This is constant work to exercise your thought process so it's void of offense to man and the Most High. Because your thought comes out in your actions. Your thought comes out in your speech. Your thoughts is what sets you back, ultimately, with the congregation, with your husband, with your wife, with your brother, with your sister. It's those thoughts you don't get under control, that you become negligent in. Let that go. Let's go back to Ecclesiastes 41 and verse 16.
Huh. Ecclesiastes chapter 41 and verse 16.
Yep.
It says, therefore, be shamefaced according to my word, for it is not good to retain all shamefacedness.
Now, we're going to get into that. I mentioned it briefly earlier, but there's a humility or an humbleness, I guess, that is not lawful. That the Most High does not want us to sit here and oblige by. All right, we're going to find out. Keep reading this whole verse.
God. Therefore, be shamefaced according to my word, for it is not good to retain all shamefacedness. Neither is it altogether approved in everything.
So there's a season, there's a time for everything. We're going to find out what season and time it could fall under. Now, give me Ecclesiastes 20 and verse 22 real quick. And the next verse is going to be 1 Kings 13:11. After this verse, I'm going to take off real quick. I got to do the Russian real quick. Ecclesiastes 20 and verse 22.
Ecclesiastes chapter 20 and verse 22.
Now, like I said earlier, the root or the definition of shamefacedness is bashfulness. All right? To be bashful, which is extreme modesty. So what does that mean? To control my tongue when the situation is not favorable is considered as extreme modesty. To control my actions when everything around me, anything in my mind wants me to go left and to be contrary and rebellious is extreme modesty. But there's an extreme modesty, there's extreme modesty that is unlawful. We're going to find out right now. Read on.
Ecclesiastes chapter 20 verse 22. There is that destroyeth his own soul through bashfulness.
There's a person that will destroy their own soul, their own salvation, corrupt their own morals through extreme modesty. There's a time when being super modest is not the time to be modest.
Right.
There's a time when you want to fit in and get to love people around you, and it's not that time to be that person. We're going to hold this thought real quick. Give me like 1 minute. I can't think right now. I don't know what to see.
after I read that verse.
Time.
Oh, no, that was wrong.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah, yeah.
Con. Ecclesiastes chapter 20 and verse 22. There is that that destroyeth his own soul through bashfulness,
So there's one that destroys their own soul through bashfulness. Read on.
and by accepting a person's overthroweth himself.
So when does this happen? When you're young and you're trying to win favor, everybody else around you, and you know the truth. And this is something that people that grew up in the truth have to face all the time. I know the knowledge, but I don't want to be hated. I know the information, but I'm a 14-year-old kid starting my first year of high school, and I don't want to be hated. So there's certain conversations I'll entertain. There's certain environments I'll be around. There's certain people I will coagulate with, or be around, or entertain, or function with, assimilate with, only because I don't want to be hated. I don't want to be that guy in the school that everybody talks about. I don't want to be that girl in the school that everybody talks about, everybody's against. Now that's on a young person scale, but even in social settings. For those that have jobs, you have coworkers. What are your conversations like with your coworkers? Do the conversations tend more to carnal things that you know you shouldn't be talking about? For men, locker room talk. That's not godly. It's just not. For women, there's a locker room talk for women too. That customer came in, yeah, I know what you're talking about. That coworker, yeah, I know what you're talking about. That thought process, I agree. But you know the Bible. But you want to make friends. There's a humility and there's a wicked humility. That's why it says it's not expedient and it shouldn't be used in everything. To want to what do they call it? Circumvent, or rather hide what you know. Now we're hiding it in another sense. I'm hiding what I know because I don't want to look bad. Now we're going to find a story in the Bible that relates to this thought process. In 1 Kings 13 and verse 11. Where I'm now rejecting the information the Most High has given me, just so I can sit here and not rub the person the wrong way.
1 Kings chapter 13, verse 11.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. I'm ready.
1 Kings chapter 13, verse 11. Now there dwelt an old prophet in Bethel,
Okay.
and his sons came and told him all the works that the man of the Most High had done that day in Bethel.
So the story goes, there was a prophet that went to the king, and he warned the king, you need to change. You need to change. You need to stop operating the way you're operating, because if you don't, the Most High is going to sting you. He wasn't by that answer. He ordered to kill him. As he ordered to kill him, his arm turned to a baby hand. Now, the context of this story is, he was told, after you give my message, get out of the country. Do not stick around for no reason, no person. That was the order from God. Just like we're all given orders from God. We're given orders to not cross certain boundaries, not cross certain thoughts, not cross certain laws. Because I told you so. It doesn't matter if everything else is going around you. It doesn't matter if all they got in the market is pork. I told you don't eat pork. That was the order. Are you going to follow it or not? The ball's in your court. So this brother, he did his job at first. And another prophet, whether they're a prophet or not, who knows? But this particular prophet heard the news, heard the great works that was done, and wants to meet him. Now read on.
It says, the words which we had spoken unto the king, them they told also to their father. And their father said unto them, what way went he? For his sons had seen the way that the man of the Most High went, which came from Judah. And he said unto his sons, saddle me the ass. So they saddled him the ass, and he rode thereon, and went after the man of the Most High.
Now this man didn't know the order that the Most High gave him, right?
Right.
So he's harmless. He's not trying to be malicious. You know what I'm saying? This is his way of life. He sees a fellow brother, fellow prophet. He wants to sit here and entertain him as a guest. You know what I'm saying? It's a hard lifestyle. It's a hard work. It's like when you see a brother that wears friends in the streets, you want to talk to him. Like, hey, man, I like what you're doing over here. It's dope. Shalom, however you say it, Most High Christ bless you. How about you, whatever you say. It is what it is. I'm going to entertain you, Because there's not many of us out here. All right, there's a lot of wickedness going on around here. So I want to say what's up. All right, so then there's nothing innately wrong with that. But that wasn't the order the Most High gave. All right, read on.
Verse 14. And went after the man of the Most High, and found him sitting under an oak.
All right, so he's resting, right? He's resting because he's preparing himself for a long journey. Read on.
And he said unto him, Art thou the man of the Most High, that camest from Judah?
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I am. Then he said unto him, Come home with me, and eat bread. And he said, I may not return with thee, nor go in with thee. Neither will I eat bread, nor drink water with thee in this place.
So this is the godly conscience kicking in. I know what I was ordered to do, and I'm gonna put up a good front because I believe in God. Hey, I don't operate like this. Now we're in a situation of called peer pressure. Peer pressure is this. I'm telling you I don't believe it, but they're going to keep bombarding you with this information. I'm going to keep asking you to do it until you fold. It's my will versus your will. I really would appreciate if you did this with me. This would solidify our brotherhood. I can't do it. It's against the laws. But if you want to take our brotherhood to the next level, just solidify it. I don't know, man. I don't. Now he's starting to get broke down. Nice, man. That got the cost now. You know what I'm saying? Once I said, you start pulling some whack bars. Look, brothers do this, bro. They'll pull some whack bars. You know, I can't even justify that one, but there's still some whack bars and some negative you can pull to convince yourself that this isn't a bad play. But we're gonna see what happens. He says, I can't eat with you. I can't go with you. I won't stay with you. I won't tarry with you. Right? Read on.
For it was said to me by the word of the Most
Now that's not humble, right? That's not humble. That's kind of offensive. I'm offering to open my home unto you. Why wouldn't you take my greeting? I'm trying to host you. I'm trying to feed you. I'm trying to talk to you. I'm trying to invest in you. Hindsight 2020. That's a brotherly thing to do. Am I correct? That's very hospitable. That's a great social etiquette. All right, read on.
Right, for it was said to me by the word of the Most High, Thou shalt not eat no bread, nor drink water there, nor turn again to go by the way that thou camest.
So he knows the law. He knows the commandment. He knows what he's not supposed to do. Read on.
He said unto him, I am a prophet also,
okay.
as thou art. And an angel spake unto me by the word of the Most High, saying, Bring him back with thee into thine house, that he may eat bread and drink water.
Hold on. Now we got some conflict of interest here. You're a prophet. I'm a prophet. God spoke to me. God spoke to you too. What order came first? We got two orders here. You're saying your order came said to take me back to eat. That sounds like God. God will do that for me. He knows I'm tired. I'm laying on this oak tree right now. He knows it's been a long journey. Maybe he changed his mind all of a sudden. Maybe he had mercy. Maybe it's not that bad. It's not technically sinning to eat bread. That's not wrong necessarily.
I am with a brother. So
I'm with a brother. It's not necessarily bad. We're building relationships here. I'm being humble. I'm so shamefaced at the moment. He's considering these thoughts. Read on.
It says,
But he lied?
But he lied unto him.
Now, you don't know he lied. You just know he's a prophet. He's wearing fringes. He looks the part. You know what you were told, but hey, bro, this story is very convincing. Now, you can rearrange this story and fit your own personal circumstances in, personal testimonies, whatsoever, whatever. It can go either way. I know there's one story where, I'll tell you, I'll spill the beans on myself. There was one time I was trying to be a good neighbor, right? Trying to be a good neighbor, and this person, I was walking my dog, actually. It's a couple years back. And this person was also walking her dog. I didn't know that we were neighbors. And we were talking, cool. It was a decent conversation. I was asking about certain things about, they dealt with manic depression. I wanted to know about manic depression. So we're having a great conversation about depression. I'm learning the psyche of the mind because that person was studying that field. And then she just pulls out a cigarette and just starts lighting. She's like, you're cool, right? Like, obviously I don't think you're going to want me, but, you don't mind if I smoke here, right? No, I had a choice to make. Do I sit here and get up, cuss this person out, call him wicked, and leave? Or do I keep our conversation? Because I'm asking for information for somebody else. I don't need information on manic depression. But somebody else needs this information. They need the medication. They need the therapy. They need all the herbs. I need this information right now. If I get up and, brother, look. If I get it right now, I'm going to burn an opportunity to get this information. Or do I stay, hear it out, be uncomfortable because I know this is wrong. I know I don't want to be around this cigarette smell. I don't like the smell. I can't stand it. What do I do? Now, you got verses in here. You got verses justifying you should stay for the sake of somebody else. Or you got verses like, bro, you got to get the hell out of here. Not cuss them out, but obviously rebuke them in the name of the Lord. Tell them to come back to Jesus. And then sit here and, go about your way. Now, I ain't going to lie. I made the wrong choice. I stayed because I needed the information. And it wasn't until after I left when the shame hit me. Because I'm like, I didn't have to do that. I didn't have to sit here and compromise. Now, obviously, I didn't smoke anything, but I was in the environment. I said nothing about it. And that lives with me to this day. I was one of the, because I still know this person. I actually invite this person over. They're friends in my rib. And we end up teaching her eventually. But that's cool and dandy. But I'm sitting here around you when you're smoking a cigarette. That's just staying on my honor. How about that? You're the Bible guy, but you didn't check me, knowing all this information the first time we met. And I got to live with that. We all have those moments where we make mistakes, where we sit here and compromise a little bit. It's a little folly. It's just a little bit. It's not like you're doing the most disturbing negative thing, but it's a little bit. You didn't have to do that. And this is where he's at right now. You don't have to make this choice. Why? You're given an order. You're given a law. Don't compromise. Don't fold. Read on.
It says, but he lied unto him. So he went back with him and did eat bread in his house and drank water.
So he did the deed. He ignored the Lord because he thought that this person's prophecy was better than his prophecy. I don't know how that happens. The Lord's speaking to you in your ear, and you're seeing him work through you, and you gonna act like this guy got the answers. That don't make no sense to me. At least I'm gonna follow the order and execute all the way, and then I'll be checked afterwards. Like, yeah, you should have listened. Well, Lord, I was just listening to the first order. I didn't know which one.
He told me not to go back. Sorry.
I didn't want to. He said if you do it, you're gonna die. So that's a real threat. I'm not, I don't want to die right now. Read on.
Verse 19. So he went back with him and did eat bread in his house and drank water. And it came to pass, as they sat at the table, the word of the Most High came unto the prophet that brought him back.
Oh, so now the Lord's going to speak to this prophet. Yeah, a message to the deceiver. Read on.
And he cried unto the man of the Most High.
Oh my gosh.
That came from Judah, saying, thus saith the Most High, for as much as thou hast disobeyed the mouth of the Most High, and hast not kept the commandment which the Lord thy power commanded thee, but camest back and hast eaten bread and drunken water in the place of which the Most High did say to thee, eat no bread and drink no water. Thy carcass shall not come unto the sepulchre of thy father.
Imagine the shame and the fear of having to disseminate that information to the person that you were just trying to be a good brother to. You lied to him, but that lie caused him to fall. That lie caused him to die. You lost your salvation, and you're gonna die an embarrassing death. You can't even go back to the sepulchres of your father. That's embarrassing. There was two faults here. The guy shouldn't have lied. The supposed prophet shouldn't have been a liar, but you shouldn't have heeded to the lies. That bashfulness caused you to fall because you accepted a person's, accepted of persons, because they got a title now. They got a title of being a priest. They got a title of being a spiritual leader, and you just listen to everything they say. You're just vetting everything they say. Bible says in Isaiah 8 and 21, to the word and to the prophecy, well, to the law and to the testimony, they speak not according to this word. There's no light in them. You ain't speaking no verses right now, G. You're just trying to be hospitable. There's a time to be hospitable. There's a time to be humble. And there's a time when you got to follow orders and lock in. And that time is all the time. When it comes to wickedness and righteousness, what you got?
Back to that Ecclesiastes 51, it says, in my doings I was exact. He wasn't exact.
And that's the point. Because as you're wrestling those thoughts, you know the one thing that centers your mind? Am I doing it the way I was taught? If I'm debating what's right and wrong in a situation, I got one side telling me I should say this, do this, act like this, and another side telling me to do the complete opposite way. am I going to stick to what works for other people? How does somebody else operate in this situation? How do they navigate through the same circumstance? What you got?
You're not facing the predator.
Yeah.
Have those examples.
To be a prophet. Just because you wear some fringes don't mean you get the credibility of putting my life in your hands. That's what it is. I'm putting my livelihood in your hands now. I'm about to disobey the Most High because you told me it's okay. And I believe you because I'm a good person. How about a good person that's still wicked if you're not following orders? The humble person can still be wicked if you're not following orders. The people in the world may love you, but you disobeying orders to get that love. That's when this humility is not lawful. That's when there's an incorrect social etiquette. There's a way to operate in both realms. You don't got to be a demon in the world to navigate successfully. But you also can't compromise what you know is right and wrong if you want to develop and grow.
Is that
Hold on. Here's raise his hand up.
That exact, just by definition, it says methodical, careful, non-negligent, correct, or observing strict method, rule, or order.
You follow the rules to the T. You know what's crazy? Negligent, right?
Not negligent.
Man. It says, correct, no, steady application of business, diligent. You have to be diligent. What's that verse? Proverbs 22 and 29. Let me see. That might be wrong.
Yep. That's it.
Is it?
Diligent in his business.
Yes. Yeah, read that real quick. Just on your point, Yahweh. Read that real quick. Yeah, well.
Proverbs chapter 22, verse 29. Seest thou a man diligent in his business?
It says, seest thou a man diligent in his business, meaning you are constant, you have steady application in what you believe in. That means you're going to associate yourself with people who also are like-minded individuals. Read on.
He shall stand before kings. He shall not stand before mean men.
Mean means average. Mean means basement. I'm not going to put myself around people who are going to cause me to sin. This is why these spiritual virtues that we're explaining is for spiritual people. Now, that don't necessarily mean you go and run amok and be a negative, non-peaceable person to the people in the world, because you still got to show Christ in your actions in the world. But to give that extra love, that extra humility, that extra consideration, it has to be for people who aren't going to take advantage of you. Or also, let me correct myself. A lot of people take advantage of each other too. But the hope is the suffering and the sacrifice and the working on ourselves gets in the kingdom. Whether the person in the camp doesn't want to respect it or not, it has no importance to us. If we're doing it in Christ's name, we get back behind that. But if we're just doing it in the streets because we just want to be loved by the world, the Most High got a problem with that. Because he said you got to be hated by the world. If you're going to be under me, you're going to be hated for what you stand for. That doesn't mean you look to be hated, but just by what you stand for every day, you're going to rub people the wrong way. There'll be a mocking behind it. So, give me back in 1 Kings 13 in verse 23.
1 Kings chapter 13, verse 23. It says, and it came to pass, after he had eaten bread, and after he had drunk, that he saddled for him the ass, to wit.
So you got this bad news, man. You got this liberty's bad news, and he's thinking, man, where did I go wrong? How did I get to this point? And all it was you forgot to follow the laws of the Most High. And you decided that in this situation, I'm going to trust man more than the Most High. I'm going to trust his humility and his want to be a brother over the Most High, what ordered me to do. And sometimes in certain situations, and they're case-by-case situations, you can't be around certain people even though they have a persona of being quote-unquote spiritual. Because they'll lead you down a wrong path. And by the time you figure it out, it's too late. This is why when Nagaha said you got to try for him, you got to prove him, see if he's of surety. I got to be sure this person is leading me in the right direction. I'm not just bowing my ear to anybody. I'm not just submitting to anybody. Read on, sir.
It says, for the prophet whom he had brought back, and when he was gone, a lion met him by the way and slew him.
No.
And his carcass was cast in the way.
You keep reading, brother.
And the ass stood by it. The lion also stood by the carcass.
You know what this shows, brother? It doesn't take much for the Most High to forget the Most High's words. Or for man to forget the Most High's words. Prove that. Proverbs 28 and verse 21. Real quick. We're almost done.
Proverbs 28.
Verse 21. Yes, sir. Someone else give me Ecclesiastes 4 and 22, verse 23.
You guys using the Bible?
Cuss. Yes, sir.
Cuss.
Yeah.
Proverbs 28 and verse 21.
Mm-hmm.
To have respect of persons is not good.
And we just found out why it's not good to have respect of person. I had to have respect or love of people when it's backed by spiritual reasoning. But just because of unproven methods or unproven rank or not rank, but I mean unproven reverence.
Reverence, regard.
I'm trying to think of the word I'm trying to use. Because there's people that are in positions of power, that a boss, for example, position of power, that could be the reason why you compromise your morals from right and wrong, right? Because you have to give them a certain level of reverence. But if that reverence, that shamefacedness, that modesty causes you to sin, that's when it's not good. When it causes you to slip and transgress the Most High's word, that's when it's a problem. Read on.
God. For a place of bread.
Nope.
Sorry. For a piece of bread, that man will transgress.
Didn't we just read that? Because he wanted to eat some bread. That brother gave all his understanding of the scriptures. Because whether he wanted a job increase, whether he wanted some friendship, whether they wanted a recommendation, I'm a compromise what I know right and wrong. I go to the dinner party. I'll partake in the meats. I'll mingle. And then I'll go on my merry way. But I compromised everything that I stood for that made me who I was. Because of a piece of bread. Because of an opportunity. Because of a circumstance. Let that go. Ecclesiastes 4 and 22.
Now in Ecclesiastes chapter 4 and verse 22, page 73. Accept no person against thy soul.
Yep.
And let not the reverence of any man cause thee to fall.
Let not their authority, the reverence, respect of any person cause you to make a mistake in the Most High. That level of humbleness or humility is not what the Most High is looking for. He wants you to be humble and to do good unto the godly. Be humble and exercise patience, exercise compassion, mercy, and follow those that follow after righteousness, not those that will lead you in temptation. Read on.
Verse 23. And refrain not to speak when there is occasion to do good.
Because what the Most High is also looking at is, when you have the time, when you have the availability, when you have the opportunity, do you flex the Most High's word? That's a more modern terminology. But do you exalt His word, His teaching that He's giving you? When you have the opportunity to be with co-workers, are you always talking about the Most High and what He's done and what He can do for you? Are you in a constant state of recruiting? That's what teaching is. I'm in a constant state of recruiting for Christ. I'm a fisher for men. So my example is one aspect of my recruitment, but then my words follow afterwards. My words will show you why you should live the way I want you to live. The way Most High told me I have to live. The way Most High is telling you, you have to live. This is why you can't hold your tongue when you're in a situation where I can decide to be humble and not say anything, or I can flex God. What you got, bro?
Job 32 and 21.
Yeah, read it.
Job 32 and 21. Job speaks. He says, let me not, I pray you, accept any man's person, neither let me give flattering titles unto men.
Yep. Because what Job is explaining is, if you're gonna sting me, Lord, I don't want you to sting me for this reason. Don't sting me, don't curse me, because I was sitting here flattering men. I was sitting compromising my morals just to gain favor of somebody in the world. I'm not gonna let that be on my name. I'll suffer for the things I did in the past. Okay, I'll eat that. But if it's based off of stand up for righteousness' sake, I've always been about you. I'm not gonna let anybody cause me to fall. Is it more than that?
Yeah, it does. Actually, 22 kind of something what you're saying. He says, for I know not to give flattering titles. In so doing, my maker would soon take me away.
And that's the point. Because that bashfulness, when it's not executed correctly, again, that's why we had to go through multiple examples to explain what it meant to be humble and what circumstances and that's not every circumstance I named. There's multiple times we can be humble and be shamefaced in the word. But then there's also times, and this is one of the examples, when I have to stand up for what I believe in. I have to be bold for Christ. That's why Proverbs 28:1 says what? Oh, finish what you got over there, Ahmad. Then somebody.
Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 23. And refrain not to speak when there is occasion to do good.
Yep.
And hide not thy wisdom in her beauty.
And don't hide the wisdom that you got, that you've been collecting over these years, over these months, over these weeks. The Most High wants you to use it when the opportunity arises. That's what it means to be in Proverbs 28:1. Read that real quick.
Proverbs chapter 28 and verse 1. The wicked flee when no man pursueth,
Yep.
but the righteous are bold as a lion.
The righteous stand up for righteousness whenever there's an opportunity to be righteous. And this is something that we all have to continue learning. And the Most High is going to keep putting us in circumstances to see if we're going to be about it or not. What you got, sir?
There was a situation Sunday. Talking about this guy, he was feeling sick. I was asking about his diet. Yeah, man.
Oh, that's a reason.
So I brought up the scripture. In the mid of the scripture, Leviticus 11, he was like, I gotta go make my run to I was like, come on, man. I'm trying to help you out. You know what I'm saying?
Come on, bro. No, it's. Oh.
But on the point with what you was bringing up earlier, I wanted to make a mention about that. When we know the information, and we can clearly see somebody is making that error in their life.
Yeah.
We know the information, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like you walking on eggshells. One, like you said earlier, you don't want to look bad, you know what I'm saying? But also, that's still that pool. I still want to be accepted, right? You still want to be accepted, so I'm not going to really blast you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep it light because I still want to be accepted. I still want to be a friend. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's why we've mentioned in other classes, and I didn't really pull the verse too much, but there's a way to correct. There's a way to chastise scripturally. But the problem is, we still have to learn that way as well. That's a different class. That's why I didn't put it in there. But the way to correct is, I'm correcting to edify. I'm telling you what you need to know so you can be a better person. I'm not telling you something that's gonna. I'm not telling you it because it makes me feel better, or I'm not telling you it to make you feel less. The damage to condemn to make you feel less than as a man or a woman. I'm telling it to you because I know if you don't do this, the Most High is going to deal with you. And I don't want to see that happen. So because I don't want to see that happen, I'm going to warn you. That's my job.
And that's also part of getting to love the congregation. If I truly love the congregation,
do not spoil the beans. There's a part 2 to this. Look, I got like there's a hard 2.5 hour class. We ain't gone in yet. Come on, bro. He did it earlier, man. Yeah. He lies got me. Yeah, come on, yo, yeah. Oh man. This. So there is 2 more verses, but the problem is, I want to kind of extend on that. Let me think. If not, then we'll end it right here. But let me look at it real quick. Yes, sir. Oh, I know. I took it out. I can't have it plugged in all the time. It'll burn the battery out. Let's go back to Ecclesiastes 20 and verse 22 through 23. And then we'll end it with one more verse. Yes, we'll do that.
20 and 22?
20, 22, and 23. Yeah.
Ecclesiastes chapter 20 and verse 22. There is that destroyeth his own soul through bashfulness, and by accepting a person's overthroweth himself.
Yep.
There is that for bashfulness promises to his friend.
So, the bashfulness, through that shyness, that fear, that excessive modesty or humility, they make a promise to somebody that could compromise their morals. But because they don't want to lose that person, they want to lose that relationship, they'll be in alignment out of fear of losing that relationship. We don't.
And maketh him his enemy for nothing.
But they realize it's off. You make a commitment, and you back down that commitment. And now you've created an enemy for no reason. Now, there's many of examples to explain this. I'm not going to go into it, because we don't have the time. But that is another way, a form of bashfulness that we have to also consider. That's why the Most High says, don't take swearing lightly. We're actually not supposed to swear.
It was really pointless, though, right? Like the whole reason for doing it wasn't even that.
Well, the reason for doing it is because we want that person to like us. For instance,
Yeah, but at the
what you got?
yeah, but after that, I mean, it still didn't even happen. Like it just goes to show that like every other religious fails.
I know what you mean. Elaborate.
Like, so he said there is that for bashfulness, promise it to a friend.
Mm-hmm.
So he's trying to gain a friend, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But in the end, he said he made him an enemy.
Ecclesiastes 6:1. You're right on the point, brother.
Ecclesiastes chapter 6, verse 1.
You're right on the point. Read that.
Ecclesiastes chapter 6, verse 1. Instead of a friend, become not an enemy.
Come on now. What does that mean? In the process of trying to make a friend, don't do things that will cause you to look unfriendly. For instance, if you know you ain't got the funds to host a dinner party and you hype up a dinner party and then the last minute you say dinner party's canceled.
Or BYOB.
That's only one example I think on top of my head. You know, dinner party's canceled, but if you want to come, bring your own chips, your own salsa, your own food, bring some Wayne's wings, and we can have some at my house. You promised a whole buffet. You said you was bringing all the food. Why am I now having to pay for this stuff? I was under the impression that this is a free meal. Now and there's nothing wrong with me having to pay for my food, but don't get me hyped up for something that ain't happening. It's like inviting a woman out, right? And you sit here courting, you're hyping her up, and then actually this happened to me one time. So I was the one who got done dirty. I was inviting this person out, go to the movies. I get to the movies, right? I'm texting this person 15 minutes out. They're like, yeah, I'm 10 minutes out. Cool. I'm there at the movie theater. I'm waiting. And then I've been there for 10 minutes now. And they're like, hey, actually, I can't make it. Something came up. We had to reschedule. Now, at this point, I'm already in the movie. I'm in the movie theater. I might as well watch the movie myself. But I tell you what, that number got deleted. And blocked. Do not charge me no more. So I just blew $13 on a movie ticket that I didn't. I don't know. I paid for both of them. So I blew $27 for movie tickets that I didn't even want to watch. So that's just one example. But don't make a promise. Yeah, no, she didn't get that. It was a one enough for me. I'm courting, dog. Don't do this to me now. that was no bueno. but it says, instead of when you're trying to make a friend, don't make promises. Don't make agreements with somebody that you can't keep. All it's going to do is stain your name. Finish it up.
It says, instead of a friend, become not an enemy.
Yep.
For thereby thou shalt inherit an ill name.
Because every time I think about you, I'm just remember that one time you left me stranded at the movie theater. I'm not ever talking to you. Don't see me in the school. I'm taking a different route to class. It's not happening no more. Your name is tarnished in my book. Forever.
Or somebody say or do something, you're like, oh, it wasn't that bad. And then you backslide on your word, and you have a conscience all of a sudden. Like,
Yes.
You're like, you know what? That wasn't right. And you shouldn't have did that. I'm like, hey, man, you said it wasn't that bad.
Look, that's actually that's a good example. Because it goes into don't soften my blow. That's the way to soften the blow, right? You sit here and butter me up. You're like, you know what? Everybody makes mistakes. You know what I'm saying? We're all human. You're human. Babe, you made mistakes. I forgive you. And the next day you wake up, you got an attitude.
On second thought,
I don't want to see you today. Like, what's wrong, babe? You know what? I was thinking about yesterday. You're really out of pocket. Let me show you how out of pocket you are on the bottom. Bam, 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 bam. I'm going in now. I'm hot. I like that example. That was funny. Sorry. I had to end the light. That was funny to me.
Now you're a Bible thumper.
Now you're a Bible thumper. Now you want to see me be a beast and a jerk, bro. When you could have just gave it to me straight last night. Why'd you just sugarcoat it? But anyway, that's why many need to study and get the mind of the counsel. This is the hard part, right? You're already kind of timid. You're bashful. You don't really want to get an arbiter with. So you give a little light blow. Then you get a counsel. Like, hey, bro, which side you with? Oh, I said it was okay. It was wrong. Then you get blasted because you didn't blast her because you was out of pocket. You out of spirit. Now you have to go back and muster up courage. I know I told her it was okay, but actually it's not okay. And I got to show you why it's not. I don't believe it's not okay, but they say it's not okay because the Bible says it's not okay. And now you look bad. And look a bad guy. So you got to study for yourself so you can be quick, be sharp, and then get in, get out, and so it's not personal. Versus buttering them up, get them false hope, and then going in. That's not cool. Read on. Finish it up.
It says, instead of a friend, become not an enemy. For thereby thou shalt inherit an ill name, shame, and reproach. Even so shall a sinner that hath a double tongue.
That double tongue is you keep going back on your word. You make promises. You say one thing, but you're really not about it. Now that goes in the flesh and it goes in the spirit. That's not the point of the class, but there is a part 2 of the to get the love of. It's gonna be titled different. This part was just the social etiquette of the humble. Is there any questions? Any gripes, issues with anything that was taught today? Was there enough verses pulled today? All right. I appreciate all y'all. The water for listening. We'll see you guys Monday. Sure. Oh, Wednesday. Shalom.